you for making Fox 5 yours. Stay with us because we've got the stream for you at 1 p.m. or Portia if you're watching on TV. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey there, welcome in on this news conversation on this Thursday. I almost said Friday. I wish it was, but we'll get there eventually. I'm Eric Perry. Thanks for joining us for Fox 5 News Live here. A couple of things we're tracking throughout the day. We're going to dip into a service that's bringing soccer more here to the Atlanta metro region. Of course, we've been talking about FIFA, the World Cup. We're going to sit down with Arthur Blank. Our Justin Felder has an exclusive interview with Blank and his son about the excitement that's coming in. And of course, after we saw so much rain, those storms last night, of course, we're in a drought, so we need the moisture. We're going to check in on your Friday and your weekend Mother's Day forecast coming up. But first, let's get you started with some headlines. We're going to start in DeKalb County. This is outside of a Kroger complex here. We're now learning a little bit more information as to just what happened. This is on Panola Road here. This is what we know so far. This is the 3000 block here as well. So here's what we have learned to figure out just what happened here. This is a public shopping plaza that took place. So we know that police responded. They found a woman suffering from a gunshot wound. She later died of her injuries. Officers also found a man there with a gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital, we're told, in stable conditions. According right now, investigators are working to learn who is responsible for this shooting. They do say there is no danger to the public there. But again, one woman is dead. One man is in the hospital recovering after shooting outside of a Publix. You can see all those cars there, busy parking lot, and of course Panola Road, if you live in that area, a very busy parking lot and shopping center as well. All right, let's get you again in DeKalb County. This is another complex that we're following, this time an incident happening at a Kroger. Here's what we learned here. One person is dead. They're calling this an incident as a pedestrian was struck by a vehicle. This was on Wesley Chapel Road, actually a couple of exits up from Panola Road, if you know that area. We know that a driver struck another vehicle in the parking lot, and because of that impact, that car was pushed onto the sidewalk, unfortunately hitting and killing a pedestrian that was standing there. They had serious injuries as well. So unfortunately, they did not survive. We're still working to learn a little bit more in this. We know that their name has been released. We don't know that name in front of me just yet, but we'll work throughout this incident as well. We want to get you here to a major traffic alert. As you already know, traffic is going to be a major concern. It's already a concern in this area if you're in Atlanta, but this weekend, parts of I-285 between the MLK Road and MLK Junior Drive and Cascade Road, that is a major thoroughfare over there by the airport. So a lot of people celebrating Mother's Day. It will shut down starting tomorrow night. GDOT says that you can expect heavy delays, of course, through there, both sides shut down, but you can also that spillover traffic, some on I-20, I-85 coming through the downtown, and then those side streets. So we're talking Donnelly Hollowell Parkway, Cascade going around South Fulton Industrial. All of those, of course, are going to see those backup areas. So if you're celebrating mom, make sure you do not take her in that area. All right, some other top stories that we're following. Want to bring in Cal Calloway. He's at our assignment desk. Cal, I know some of the stories have changed, and that's just the nature of the beast here. Good to see you.
Eric, good to see you. And for the record, I wish it was Friday also.
Yes.
But it is Thursday. We do have a lot of news going on. We do have a developing story right now out of Coweta County. That's where our reporter, Doug Evans, has learned about the arrest of a high school teacher. This was a teacher at East Coweta High School. According to the sheriff's office, he's been arrested for allegedly exposing himself at the school. We understand he has been booked into the county jail. As we're speaking, Doug is talking to the sheriff's office. We understand that a letter has been sent to parents at that high school. Doug will have details for us at 4, 5, and 6. I should point out there's another county that's in Douglas County where we've learned today about an investigation involving an educator also at a high school. We'll tell you what we know about that again at 4, 5, and 6. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor for months has been following a dispute between Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and the city's fire union. This is over the city's collective bargaining agreement with firefighters. More than a year ago, the city council agreed to ratify that agreement, but the mayor has never signed it. This is over a dispute involving the leadership of the fire union. The mayor contended that the president of the fire union was not properly elected. Angelique has learned that there's been a change in the union leadership, and now there will be a signing ceremony next week involving the mayor. She'll break down that dispute this afternoon and now what's led to the agreement at 4, 5, and 6. And finally, Fox 5's political reporter Dieter Dukes today is talking to the daughter of the late Congressman David Scott. As you remember, Congressman Scott died suddenly 2 weeks ago. His daughter has decided to enter the race to serve out the unexpired term of the late congressman. We'll talk to her this afternoon. Those are just some of the stories we're working on, and we'll have all those and much more tonight at 4, 5, and 6.
All right, Cal, before you go, break down the latest of Keisha Lance Bottoms. I know around 1:30 she's expected to cast her ballot. What else do we know about that?
That's correct. As we understand, she and her husband are casting their ballots. Early voting at 1:30 this afternoon. We have a crew there, and we hope to talk to the Democratic candidate for governor. Most polls show that she is leading that race, so we hope to talk to her after she casts her ballot as we're getting closer to the May 19th primary.
Yeah, so we've already seen large turnouts for this. You'll be interested. I think she might give some words. Our camera will be there. So if she gives any type of statements, we'll dip into it. Cal Calloway, thanks so much. We appreciate it. All right, of course, we want to get a check of the forecast. I believe Greg Majeski is joining us. If not, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the check of the forecast. But we're also, the big question is, what happens once the war is over? Will we see prices ending? Will they go down? We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll be right back. You're watching Fox 5 News Live during our 1 p.m. hour. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live during this 1 p.m. hour. If you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, we welcome you into the conversation. Many of us heard the rain last night. It rolled in around 6 o'clock, and while, we might not like the rain, it was really needed. And bringing in Greg Majeski now. Greg, does this help any with our drought numbers at all? I mean, we really desperately needed it.
It will, Eric, but we're not going to see those results until next week's report because the new one just came out today, and it really doesn't take into account the rain that fell. So we are going to see some changes, but we're not going to really know for sure how big of an impact until next week. You can see right now the rains are pushing off to the south, now down south of Macon, coming into Augusta, but on North Georgia, Georgia is all clear. And look at what we got out of this, folks. Depending on where you were lined up here, you had a heavy band right here. You had one south of town. You got 3 different distinct heavy bands of rain that have moved through the area. Notice this little area right in between here, which actually went into right into Atlanta, less than an inch for the most part. But we still had excellent coverage here. So I want you to take a good look at this map. This is where all the heavy rains were falling. And here is the drought map. So this is the latest as of today. Even the level 4 exceptional drought here showing up here near Hartwell. So it'll be interesting when next week's results come back. Do we chip away at some of this? Do we get rid of the 100% drought that's across severe drought across most of the state? So stay tuned next Thursday. We'll see if this does in fact make a big difference. I think it'll chip it away some. All right, we got a mix of 70s and 60s out there, kind of depending on where you're at. We got some clouds that are kind of lingering in here a little bit. So look at Blue Ridge at 58. We do have a northwesterly wind blowing in here. So we're going to have temperatures tomorrow morning running below normal, and tomorrow will also be below normal. Now, we're in May now. We're supposed to be getting closer. Temperatures getting close to 80 degrees this time of year. So we're definitely seeing a little bit of a cool down. See some intermittent gaps in some of the clouds in here, but here's the clearing line just now starting to show up here across extreme northwest Georgia, and this is going to spread on through. As this front slowly exits off the eastern seaboard, we're going to see things begin to improve. So tomorrow's not looking bad. I think we'll see kind of a partly sunny, mostly sunny type of day. We'll start with some sunshine, some clouds late. So again, Friday morning, it's showing a little bit of cloud cover in here, but generally temperatures in the 40s to right around 50 in Atlanta. So I think this might be just a little overdone. I think we'll have a little more sunshine, but 60s and 70s here. Now the question mark's going to be for the weekend. Obviously it's Mother's Day weekend, things going on, and the models have changed up a little bit. We got a couple of weak systems coming at us, and they're not always strong. We're going to get some rain, maybe a little thunder. No severe weather with this, by the way. It doesn't look like it's in the cards, but you can see a nice little rain field coming through here on your Saturday. So I'm waiting to look at a couple other models here. I might up the rain chance here on Saturday, waiting for the European to come in right now. And this clears on out, and then going into Sunday, it's a little bit drier. So right now going into Saturday, the rainfall amounts generally light, nothing like we just saw. So looks like a 1/3 to a 1/2 inch. Blairsville peaking at 1 inch. So not overly heavy, but again, we'll continue to take these rain events. That's what we need, is these continuous intervals of rain coming through the area to really help with that drought and beat it back. So forecast for the rest of the afternoon, we should see some buildings clearing skies in here for tonight, and eventually clearing out and down 63 as we go toward 10 o'clock. And then as we go in for the next 7 days, all right, so again, that rain chance there on Saturday may go up a little bit. Sundays may go down a little bit, so we'll see how it works out here. I just kept them at 40, and then for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we do clear things out. Brief little cool down on Tuesday, very similar to what we'll see for tomorrow morning, and then warm back up to 80 degrees as we head toward Wednesday. So a little bit of a question mark for the weekend, but early next week is looking pretty good, Eric.
All right, just before you go, Greg, how did this rain, did the southeast portion of our state get it? They're battling those fires. Did it help them out? Yeah,
they did. They got some good rains down there. Still getting some rains down there now, so it will definitely help in that department as well.
All right, Greg Majeski, thanks so much. Mother's Day, you might need a little, maybe parasol, maybe a little umbrella to start the day.
Just in case.
Just in case. All right, Greg, thanks so much. All right, want to shift gears now and bring in Justin Farmer with Exit Wealth. Really a wealth of knowledge there when it comes to finances, getting everything together. A lot of questions now. What happens when the war ends? Where will we see the prices and everything? Justin, thanks for joining us. I think that's really the question we want to start off with as we're seeing an end to the war overseas. What would it look like for prices here, and how fast will some of us see the consumers see relief?
Good afternoon, Eric. Yeah, so everyone's focused on gas prices. Naturally, that has the most correlation to all of the skirmish that's been going on across the Middle East. So as it looks like a ceasefire is getting, or a deal to end the war is becoming closer and closer to reality, when it does finally occur, you're going to see the commodity of oil drop precipitously. And so what will happen here at the pump? It'll take a couple of weeks. There's a bit of a lag effect, but we should drop pretty close to those earlier February numbers at the pumps, which would be about a 20% decline in the price of gasoline in the United States. It's interesting, even though the United States is largely energy independent, because oil is a global commodity. When the oil prices go higher around the world, of course, 20% of the oil supply for the globe goes through the Strait of Hormuz. When that is threatened, if you will, that's why we are all victim of that, even though we don't really use oil for gasoline that's coming through that part of the world.
Justin, could the end of the conflict trigger a major rally when it comes to Wall Street?
Eric, it should. I'll tell you, it's an interesting thing. The stock markets hate uncertainty. In fact, the markets prefer bad news over uncertainty. So when you have conflict and missiles flying around and the headlines change every 24 to 48 hours, it makes markets jittery. That's why markets had such an awful March. They've recovered very nicely in April in the first few trading days of May because markets are leading indicators and they're trying to sort of look around the corner. And so if you believe in what the markets are sort of predicting, it looks like the money is thinking that the war is going to wrap up soon. You know, we're only 1% off of our all-time highs right now in the markets. So I would expect the second half of the year, if indeed we get a peaceful end to this conflict, I would expect the second half of the year to be very good for investors. And you know what's interesting, Eric? Some 61% of Americans now have at least some exposure to the stock market through a 401k or an IRA or similar. So, you know, the markets, it's not like the 70s and 80s. They were just for rich people. Just about everybody in one form or another thinks about investing, and the end to a conflict in general is going to be good for most investors.
What sector of the market would benefit, I guess, the most from tensions easing? I mean, we've seen airlines with with the jet fuel, tech, travel, retail. Who's really struggling the most right now?
Great question here, Eric. Any company that is involved in logistics, that cost of diesel fuel for trucking, the cost of jet fuel, if you're the airlines or you're doing air cargo, those companies, they have had their margins just eliminated and obliterated, and in some cases going backwards. So therefore, when we get an oil price decline, it's almost an immediate win for the airlines, for a FedEx and a UPS. Think about Uber drivers. Their margins are shrunk when their margins just shrink whenever the price of gasoline moves higher. So they're going to get the most immediate relief. But the truth of it is, to move any goods back and forth, whether you're talking about locally, nationally, or globally, just to move goods costs more money when oil is higher. And that trickles through almost every aspect of the economy, including the prices that we pay at the grocery stores. If it costs more to move eggs from the farm, so to speak, you're going to pay more for the eggs when they get to the grocery store.
What are some misconceptions that people might have of what overseas prices are affecting financially here at home? And, you know, we hear so many different things. Are there any major misconceptions that you think that people might not know about or they need clearing up?
If you mean sort of, I think maybe you're talking about like currency risk and exchange rates. There's certainly some misconceptions out there. Also, the nature of tariffs. I mean, we've been talking about tariffs for 13 months, but to your question, the nature of how tariffs work globally, the United States typically, historically, has paid higher tariffs than what we charge other trading partners. And that disparity, I mean, you can, not to get political about it, but that disparity is what's been debated for more than a year now. Is it an unfair playing field for the United States? Don't forget, we're the number one consumers in the world. So we have tensions with China, and sometimes they're uglier than at other times. But in the end, China and most nations in the world, industrialized nations, they need you and me, Eric. They need the U.S. consumer to buy their goods. And so it kind of provides a bit of global security, if you will, for the United States beyond just our military, but our economic might is an incentive for countries to play ball with us and be relatively friendly.
People watching at home, before we go, what should stick with them and what should they be looking for in the future?
Yeah, I would be looking for this. I'm hoping that when the war comes to a close, you get stability in the region. That will have a ripple effect across not just gas prices, but also overall inflation in the United States. And here's another thing to think about. If you're an employer and you're thinking about adding staff, you might have some trepidation when there's international conflict. It just, again, uncertainty makes it difficult for people and companies to make big decisions. If we get more stability and it feels like that period is behind us by summer, then you might see an uptick in hiring, which is always a good thing.
All right, Justin Farmer, thank you so much with Exit Wealth. I think those are the questions everyone wants to know, the timing of everything, but it's going to take a little time for things to trickle back down as they trickled up.
Thanks, Eric. Take care.
All right. Thank you. All right. We want to get you to a live look. This is in Fayetteville happening right now. It's the U.S. Soccer Center. A ceremony happening. It's the grand opening of the Arthur and Blank U.S. Soccer National Training Center. Again, this is in Fayette County. Our Justin Felder is there now as they plan to open up. It's really a big deal as we're bringing more and more soccer. Of course, this is all ahead of the FIFA World Cup, which is a huge deal, not just around the world, but of course right here in Atlanta. But opening up that training facility in Fayette's going to bring even more business and put even more eyes on the soccer community. Our Justin Felder sat down with Arthur Blank and Josh Blank, his son, to talk a little bit about the FIFA World Cup, getting us all excited there. Here's a little portion of their interview.
The countdown clock ticks down. Arthur, I'll start with you. The fans at home might be waiting for the big goal or to see thousands and thousands of new people coming to Atlanta. What is the moment or experience you're most looking forward to at the World Cup?
Well, I think, to see competitive soccer, obviously, which we have ongoing in our stadium now, but to have it over a period of time, the middle of June to the middle of July, in the setting of World Cup, and having 48 teams competing and 104 matches, and so it'll be incredibly exciting for Atlanta. Welcoming everybody to Atlanta, have them have the experience that everybody else does, and whatever happens on the pitch, we know we're going to have a great fan experience for them, and they're going to be welcomed and treated and respected in every way.
Josh, we've been imagining this moment forever. Is there one moment you're looking forward to? The first kick, the first goal, shaking someone's hand? What are you looking forward to?
That first goal in the stadium, watching the crowd erupt, watching the joyous moments that are shared with fans from all over the world who have come to cheer on for one specific nation, team in that instance. That'll be a special moment, and really just the lasting memories that'll happen for so many people who come through Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Hopefully they're lifelong memories, and the opportunity that we have to help create those and be a part of them is special to me, and I couldn't be more excited for the summer.
I'm glad you said lasting and lifelong memories, because it's been 30 years since the Olympics in Atlanta, right, and that's still talked about regularly. Arthur, what do you hope that this event will mean to the city of Atlanta?
Well, I think it'll continue just like the Olympics did in 1996, and since I've moved here in 1978, when 1 million people are living here, now over 8 million, is that people will come and experience Southern warmth and hospitality in its truest sense, and they'll do it. The ones that attend matches will be great. The ones that'll be in and about the city, whether it be in hotels or restaurants or parks or festivals or watch parties, things of that nature. So I think it's going to continue to help foster the growth of Atlanta, which has been amazing since 1978 when I first moved here, 79 for the opening of Home Depot. So I'm excited about that and excited to see that take place.
And Josh, along the same lines, I remember with the Club World Cup, we'd see viral videos of fans from Europe walking in the stadium and just seeing the size and the scale and the hospitality. What do you want people who are coming here from continents all over the world, from many thousands of miles, to take away from the stadium, from the people, from the experience?
Yeah. Hopefully they have such a great experience. To your point, Club World Cup, we were able to deliver that. Similarly this summer with the World Cup, deliver that experience, whether it be in the stadium, at one of our fan fest, or for someone who's just coming to be in Atlanta and then ultimately goes somewhere else for a match, they get to experience our stadium, our city and state, and want to come back again, whether it be on vacation or bring business. To me, the Olympics was really the coming out party for for Atlanta as a city and put itself on the map in the United States. And the World Cup being this summer, it's another opportunity where Atlanta and Georgia, how can it become one of those household cities and states when people think of the United States around the world globally, that they put it akin to a Miami, a New York, an LA, a Chicago. And we have a great opportunity, and I have no doubt that the Southern hospitality will shine through.
You know, the stadium, the organization, the city has hosted the biggest sporting events in the world, the Super Bowl, the college football playoff, Taylor Swift, and the biggest concerts. What are the unique challenges of hosting a World Cup, of welcoming in contingencies from all over the world? What are the challenges that you and your team have been dealing with in the lead up?
Well, I think, you know, you have to make sure that the stadium meets all the FIFA requirements, all their standards. And that goes back to when we designed the stadium. We were awarded an MLS franchise in 2014, so we were designing it several years before that. So I think the fact that we had the ability and made the commitment, you know, intellectually and resource-wise to make sure that the stadium reflected the needs for World Cup standards for FIFA, I think that was important for us and important for FIFA and important for our escalation in the world of soccer, is across all elements, men's, ladies, and U.S. Soccer Federation connections as well. So I think that the stadium will stand up beautifully. What makes our fans, whether it be a football game, a soccer match, concert, private events, whatever it may be, they feel this is their home, they're welcome there, they feel like they're respected, they're cared for. It's shown that way in terms of our food and beverage philosophies and how that's carried out, et cetera. But more importantly, or as importantly, they generally feel the respect and the support and the secure environment and the fact that we acknowledge how much we appreciate their attendance at anything we're doing.
And I think probably that feeling for fans comes from the people first philosophy that you all put into all the teams, the building, Home Depot, everything throughout your career. Josh, how are you guys keeping that philosophy for the World Cup when ticket prices are high for a lot of people? How are you guys keeping the people first philosophy heading into the World Cup?
Yeah. Long before this summer has arrived, we've done our listening tour and really engaged with fans from around the world, whether it be going to see Premier League matches, going to other World Cups, other international soccer events, to really understand how is the soccer fan globally, and depending on the country or continent that they're coming from, wanting to engage. So once we had an idea for how they want to engage, then we can begin to formulate a plan of, okay, how do we alter the fan experience slightly, knowing somebody is expecting this experience from their previous experiences on soccer. I think here in Atlanta, you look at everything that we've done, from having MARTA be consistent in its pricing, us staying true to our concession pricing, and having that fan-friendly first pricing model. That's how we can control the controllables in a lot of ways. And then I think the ease of access to our stadium, whether it be a quick 20-minute Uber ride from the airport, or the ability to hop on MARTA and go directly into downtown, and then the fact that we have 20,000 plus hotel rooms within walking distance of the stadium. You may be spending quite a bit on tickets, but hopefully your experience outside of that is affordable and one ease of access. And if you don't ultimately show up for a match, we do have the Fan Fest that's open for 18 days. That'll be free for fans and members of Atlanta and Georgia to experience the World Cup fervor in a different atmosphere.
I think one of the major advantages that Atlanta has, we hear this after every major event that we host or is hosted downtown, is everything's walkable. People don't have to get back into a car or even seek public transportation. They can walk from these hotels and restaurants, et cetera, to our stadium or State Farm if it's something there, whatever it may be. And now with over $5 billion invested downtown in all sorts of infrastructure and activities and programming and what have you. So people are going to, once they're there, they're going to stay there, and they're going to feel like this is their town, this is their city, this is their little community, and I think they'll enjoy that very much.
All right, you've been watching Justin Felder's one-on-one interview with Arthur Blank, a huge deal in Atlanta, and also his son Josh as well. As we're getting ready for FIFA, he was talking a little bit about the excitement and the preps that's all going into getting ready for such a huge deal like this. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Eric Perry. During this 1 p.m. hour, we are reaching the halfway mark here through this hour. And of course, we're all talking FIFA. We're getting ready for such a huge event here. It's going to be so beneficial to the city of Atlanta. And we want to bring in a Johnny Fortune, who is a midfielder with Atlanta United. First of all, thanks for joining us. Good to have you with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here and happy to talk with you for a little bit.
All right, so I have to start off by asking, walk us through, what are you doing to get ready for FIFA coming in and for the soccer lovers? It's going to be such a huge deal for people who love the sport and really big for those who live here in Atlanta.
Yeah, it'll be great. I think the greatest thing about it is we get to show people what Atlanta does for football. You know, we have a great atmosphere, a great stadium, great fans, and being able to bring that here will be great. And unfortunately, wasn't able to qualify, but so in this moment, I'll be putting on my supporters hat and just watching as a fan and just enjoying seeing football.
We're showing some pictures of you training and you doing the sport that you love. What got you into it? What hooked you in? Why do you like soccer so much?
I think when I was born, my dad and my brother, they played and they were training together, and just seeing that and seeing how much fun and joy it brought them from an early age, I enjoyed doing it. I remember as soon as I could walk, my dad was putting the ball above my feet, so I was kind of just brought into it a little bit, and from the very first moment, I just had a love for the game. And ever since then, just the enjoyment it brings, the ability to hang out with friends and family and bring people together, it's something that I'll never forget.
All right, Atlanta United, you guys are on a winning streak. Walk us through the strategy there and what are you going to do to keep that momentum going forward?
Yeah, I think as a team, we didn't start the way we wanted, and we got together, we spoke with each other, and we said, look, we got to turn it around. And I think over the last few games, you see a improvement in performances. We were just missing that little bit extra to take us over the edge. And I think in those last 3 games, we were able to do that. So I think what's important is we continue to buy in, continue to believe in each other, and fight for each other when we go on the field, and just keep improving. As long as we keep improving, I don't see a reason why we can't continue to win and put great performances together.
I know you're coming back from an injury. Being off the field, what did that teach you, and what was the motivation to get you back on? I know training and getting yourself back in full health is a mental thing. So what were you telling yourself? What were some of the songs you were playing and the mottos that you were living by to get you back on to playing shape?
No, I think one of the best things about it is I had a great support structure during this time. My family was huge during this moment of coming and doing things I didn't want to do, or the same repetitive exercises over and over again. They told me to just keep at it and keep going, and luckily the medical staff, the staff here, teammates, and everybody were so positive during that, and they allowed me to enjoy my moments when I was here and found a way to put a smile on my face, which was great. And I think the biggest motivation for me was just wanting to be back out on the field during that time period. As a friend, as a teammate, I was supporting my teammates and wanting to see them do well. But at the same time, I was a little jealous, I got to add, seeing them being able to go out on the field and play every day. So I think that was great motivation in itself, and it just showed me how much I love playing this game, because having it taken away a little bit for 9 to 10 months wasn't the greatest feeling. And there was a few songs that was going on during the time, some Afro beats, some a little bit slower songs, but as I started to get back onto the field, we got back in our hip-hop groove a little bit.
Okay, look, of course, it's Atlanta. You got to have a little bit of hip-hop in there. Overall, people watching this, what do you think that they should know about you? What is something that most people might not guess about you? Of course, you're a great athlete. Off the field, what do you do for fun? Talk us through a little bit of personal hobbies that might surprise people.
I think one thing I'll say is on the field, you know, I'm always zipping around, getting around, trying to create things and bring energy to the game. But if you see me off the field, I'm a lot more laid back. I get told I'm a slow walker, which kind of annoys people a little bit. I talk low, so I'm a lot different when I'm on the field. But one thing I'll say is, as of late, you know, I had some time off, so I tried to pick up a few hobbies here or there. Chess is something I'm starting to pick up a little bit. Just learning different board games and like pool and all those type of things. Told my mom that I wanted to. She also wanted me to start doing some school during this time period. So I'm just going to start up doing some classes as well. And I think that's most of it. You know, I'm a pretty laid-back individual, pretty chill, love some video games here or there, but as soon as I step on the field, I'm a different person.
I can see you turn it on right now. You're just in real chill mode there. I'm trying to play pool in person on the iPhone. I'm a beast, but in real life, I'm not very good at it, so I'm still trying to learn. All right, so before we go, to the little boys and girls out there watching you, watching the team, watching soccer, they love the sport. What would you tell them as they're hopefully pursuing a professional career in the sport? What advice would you give to them?
Everybody's timelines are different. For me, it didn't happen right away. It wasn't immediate. It wasn't something that I got the success overnight. It was a long process that I'm still looking to improve on. Continue to make goals for yourself. Continue to try and succeed in those goals and create new ones, but most importantly, have fun. One thing I'll say is the most fun I've had with friends, family, teammates was on the football pitch. So just enjoy it, go out there, give your best every time you do it, and hopefully we get to see some of you guys soon at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
All righty, look, I've never been to an Atlanta United game, but I hear it's a whole different experience when it comes to excitement and energy that's out there. I hear it's like none other.
Yeah, it's great. I say it all the time. We have the best fans in the league. We have the best stadium in the league, arguably the world. And there was a moment last game or 2 games ago, I came out at halftime and they were playing Swag Surf. And I usually don't do this. I usually don't get distracted by outside things. But there was a moment where I stood there and I was like, wow, this is a great moment to be a part of. So I want to say big thanks to all the fans, the 17s, and everybody that helped put this together.
Yeah, I have to say, if Swag Surf is on, it's almost against the law to not participate and get into it. Johnny Fortune, thank you so much. We appreciate it. I know we'll be talking and seeing you, especially as FIFA inches closer and closer. We appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Perfect. You too. All right. A lot of things trending online. Sam Daniel with our digital desk there has the latest. Sam, first of all, thank you. We appreciate it. I like your bright, colorful shirt there. Really pops up on the screen. I love it. Walk us through some of the things that people are talking about online. Uh-oh, Sam, I think we might not have you there. Are you muted? Nope. All right. So we might not have you. I don't think we have your mic working as well. What we'll do is we'll take a quick little break. We'll be right back. Hey there, welcome back. Eric Perry here on Fox Local. You're taking a live look. This is candidate for governor, Keisha Lance Bottoms. We know that she cast her ballot there earlier today. It was supposed to take place at 1:30, so I believe this is on the other end of it as well. Do we have any sound from her? Can we listen in a little bit? Let's listen in just quickly as she's answering questions. This is in Southwest Atlanta at the Art Center.
For workforce innovation, for technical training for people to go into six-figure paying jobs. I want to see free technical and community college across the state. We supported small businesses. I want to do that statewide. I want to eliminate state income taxes for our teachers. And these are, and the list goes on, but these are issues not just that we came up with as some data points, but as I'm moving around the state, this is what people are talking about, that they want support for mental health care. They want support for caregivers, and that's how I'm going to deliver for the people of Georgia.
All right, we've been listening in a little bit together. This is a live look, so that's why it's a little shaky and wobbly there on our camera. Our photojournalist, Tim Whaley, is out there asking questions, getting answers. This is Keisha Lance Bottoms, who is a governor, Democratic governor for the state of Georgia. She just cast her ballot there in early voting. I also wanted to run some numbers by you. We've been seeing a large turnout in comparison to the last time. So far in the first 2 weeks, 214,000 early votes, ballots cast within the first 7 days. Compare that to 167,000. That's during the same time of 2022. So they're saying that 28% increase. Again, this is taking place nearby the South Fulton Southwest Art Center. That's, I believe, where she has cast her ballot there. She was talking a little bit about the state income tax. We also heard her talking a little bit about mental health as well. So we'll continue to follow this. We know it is a crowded field when it comes to the Democratic candidates looking to be the next governor, also on the Republican side as well, and voting officially May 19th. And of course, we have you covered here as well. All right, we want to go back to Sam Daniel. Sam, I talked you up really good. I know wanted to get back into what is trending around. I think we can hear you now. Yeah. Good to see you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, perfect. It's good to see you too, Eric. The first story that is trending today is a really interesting story, and it's still developing, so we don't know a ton about what's going on. It's happening in Cohutta, which is in Whitfield County, up near the Tennessee state line with Georgia. The entire police department there has been fired. So what we know is the police department was reportedly fired, which dissolved about 6 officers or 10 officers after some officers filed a formal complaint regarding the mayor's wife, Pam Shinnick. Shinnick was recently fired from her position as town clerk. However, according to these letters submitted by the 6 officers, she kept working and had access to these officers' personal information after her termination, which concerned them. That's when the mayor stepped in and allegedly fired all the officers. So going forward, the Whitfield County Sheriff's Office has said it is working to serve the Cohutta City residents, but the Whitfield County Board has called a special meeting on Friday, and on its agenda that's posted on its website, it's looking at reinstating the police department and at removing Mayor Ron Shinnick, the husband of the fired town clerk who is mayor, from office.
Yeah, this is really a big talker, and I believe tomorrow there's going to be some sort of news conference or press conference there in that county to discuss a little further. All right, back closer to home, let's talk a little bit about Jay Wick, which back closer to home, Atlanta native, but this happened in Florida.
Yes, well, so that picture you're seeing right there, Jay Wick, whose real name is Donald Anderson, he's 26 years old, from Atlanta, and was arrested in Atlanta in connection with a shooting that happened in Florida. Bay County, Florida, if you know where that is, it's Panama City. So according to police there, Anderson, who goes by the stage name Jay Wick, was wanted for shooting and critically injuring an 18-year-old man. All of this happened back in April 25th, at Beach Access 83. Police say that Wick was going to perform in Panama City, and before that, there was something that happened. The shooting happened. and then the 18-year-old was injured. After that, Jay Wick went on to perform and then came back to Atlanta. Officers from Panama City kept surveilling Jay Wick. They actually came to Atlanta to continue surveilling him. And then on May 5th, the shooting happened April 25th. May 5th, Jay Wick was arrested in Atlanta with help from Atlanta Police and the U.S. Marshal's Office. So now they're waiting to see if Jay Wick's going to be extradited to Florida.
Know that he sang the song Pork Chop Sandwich. I listened to that song, and when I had a different image in my head about who I thought was singing that song. So that's very interesting to finally put, I guess, a face to the name.
Joyce and I were listening to it earlier, and she said it's a pretty good song. So
yeah, it's very popular on the radio, because at first I was like, I've never heard of Jay Wick, but I guess we have heard him. He has that popular song. Hopefully he can get a sandwich behind bars in connection to this. All right, Paper Gang family sentencing that took place. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, so Paper Gang Family was an Atlanta rap music label, but now federal prosecutors say it was just used to distribute drugs in Atlanta. So 13 members and associates of the Paper Gang family have now been arrested and sentenced for distributing large amounts of drugs, according to federal prosecutors. So this has been going on for a while. The Paper Gang family started in 2019, and federal officials say ever since then, they've been using that music label as a front just to distribute drugs. So investigators say they kept watching them, and they even saw members of the Paper Gang family distribute drugs on streets while school buses were dropping off, and at the same time, different times, but really near kids. So that stood out to us as we were writing this article. During the arrest and prosecution, officials say over 10,000 fentanyl pills, 25 kilograms of meth, 20 kilograms of cocaine, and more drugs were confiscated and seized. So lots of drugs at this facility, according to prosecutors. We have a full list of the people who have been arrested and a little bit more of the backstory online if you want to go into it. But that 10,000 fentanyl pills is a large number of drugs.
Yeah, and we know it only takes just a little bit of fentanyl to do deadly damage there. All right, Sam, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, I want to get out to Maria Guzman, who is taking a pretty cool tour there. If you ever notice, you call 911 in times of emergency, that single cell phone call is important. It's crucial. But, the behind the scenes of what happens in those towers with Verizon Wireless. All right, Maria, I know this is a top secret hub that you're at. They don't want people knowing where it is. Walk us through it and just really the importance of this in times of emergencies.
Yeah, it's a really big emphasis on the top secret. It is a network center here. And just to really describe and bring some visuals on how this all works. Like, for example, if I'm a Verizon user, I'm trying to reach out to my mom or a loved one that's far out of state here. My message, my phone call will come through this site in order for my loved one to receive that message. Now, this is a critical site in times of emergencies, first responders, of course. So with me to tell me more about this, I do have here Jennifer, who is with Verizon. So Jennifer, just thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just talk about all the resources that we have right behind here. So you call this a mobile asset. So ultimately, what is the main focus of these mobile assets?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you see here are a handful of the hundreds of mobile assets that Verizon has staged around the country to respond in the event of a natural disaster. So you have varying types here. And what we do in this facility is we stand up an emergency operations center, really monitoring our network status. And depending on the need of our communities, we will then have engineers who are trained all year round to be able to deploy these assets into those hardest hit communities. Anywhere from, setting up mobile Wi-Fi to really supplying our cell sites with satellite solutions if our backhaul is down, to even deploying temporary towers and other solutions to bring up a full site if necessary, if our infrastructure is damaged.
Gotcha. I remember you described it to me as like rapid recovery, right?
Yes.
Frontline.
Yes.
We have these as backups.
It could take days for power to be restored or backhaul to be restored to some of these cell site locations. So this really is our rapid response. We are running to a crisis to get that communication line reestablished for our first responders in our communities who are trying to reach out.
Yeah. If you can give us some examples of when you guys had to use this and pull them out.
Yeah, absolutely. So during Hurricane Helene 2 years ago, we had to deploy these assets all across South Georgia, Southeast Georgia, into Augusta. And we actually had to bring additional assets in from out of state to be able to really, take care of our communities and first responders in all of those hard hit areas.
Gotcha. So when we talk about emergency, obviously that includes tornadoes, hurricanes, severe weather, but you also mentioned you guys also use this for big events. So just tell me a little bit about that and one big event that is coming up here shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do deploy these assets for big events. We are monitoring our network consistently. If there are high capacity needs for big crowds, large crowds coming in, we just brought an asset back from Talladega Superspeedway, but we know FIFA is front of mind. We are monitoring that network. Our network is ready for that crowd that's coming in for FIFA, but we will be monitoring it the entire time to be able to deploy assets as needed.
Yeah, and during hurricane was hit by hurricane.
Yeah, absolutely. It was hit in several places. So we were anywhere from South Georgia all the way across into Augusta for days at a time. So we really run to the crisis and we really stay there until our network is repaired.
Just to give a picture on how critical this is, if we were not to have this, right, unfortunately, power goes out, there's no outage. What would happen? What would be life with?
Yeah, so we would be left days at a time potentially without the communication services that we need. So we really rely on this. We want to get that communication up and running so, families can call loved ones, first responders can coordinate and get to the people that need the most help, et cetera. So
yeah, so it's definitely a lifeline for those emergencies, but even just to call your loved one on the day-to-day, and it happens all right here at this top secret network center.
That's
so Jennifer, just thank you so much for being here with me. So just stay with us. We're going to continue our coverage here at this network center, and we're going to talk about all the backup systems and also how it's powered all here. So I'll send things back to you.
All right, Maria Guzman, thank you so much. All right, we'll be right back. Hey there, welcome back. You've been watching Fox 5 News Live during this 1 p.m. hour there. We're getting ready for the 2 o'clock hour. We'll have some live reports from our reporters fanned out across. We've been also watching as well as the DeKalb County CEO, Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, has been giving a state of the county address. We know Monday they made that announcement that the pay will go up for those DeKalb County employees. We'll also get a check of your forecast, and we'll dip back in and talk a little bit more with some of our reporters fanned out across the area. Thanks so much for spending your 1 p.m. hour with us. I'm Eric Perry, Ariel Onstock coming up next.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstock. Thanks so much for being here on your Thursday afternoon. Let's get to a major travel alert. We've been telling you guys about this, but in case you missed it, want to make sure it's on your radar for this weekend because it will be busy for the Mother's Day holiday. And I-285 West is closing. Major detours are expected and delays. All lanes of the west side of I-285 are going to close this weekend, and that's going to be between Cascade Road and Martin Luther King Drive. So here's what to expect. The shutdown starts 7 on Friday and lasts until 5 a.m. Monday for highway repairs. You should expect heavy traffic, and you can detour through I-20 and Langford Parkway throughout the weekend. But, we've gotten some questions from some of you asking why Mother's Day weekend was the weekend chosen. I can't answer that, but I can tell you how to get around it, and that would be I-20 and Langford Parkway as of right now. All right, let's continue on with a story that has caused a lot of angst among so many of you who've been reading this story on fox5atlanta.com. A lot of people really heartbroken and upset over the loss of a therapy pig named Bootsy. Well, now Georgia's agricultural community is getting involved to help a boy who lost his pet pig. Let's get out to Fox's Tara Jabor. Tara, it's great to see you. Can you tell me what you're learning this afternoon? I understand 3 people have been arrested with Bootsy's killing. What else are you learning?
Yeah, Ariel, that's right. On Tuesday, 3 people were arrested in connection to Bootsy's killing. They're all charged with aggravated cruelty to animals. Now, I just spoke to the family, and they told me that they are relieved that people have been arrested, but they also are a little bit cautious and want to see how this legal process plays out. So if you take a look behind me, this is their barn. Of course, their son, 12-year-old Garrett Cox, he had this pig for about the last year, and he had been training the pig, and they competed in some shows with the Future Farmers of America together, and then the pig became their pet. Well, last week the pig got out for a little short period of time, and someone shot and killed the pig. Of course, those are the 3 people that were arrested. And this wasn't a small pig. It was a 400-pound pig who really had become the best friend of the 12-year-old boy, Garrett. His family says that he struggles with ADHD, and ever since he got a pig, it kind of opened up his personality and taught him more about responsibility and taking care of something. So this animal obviously was Garrett's best friend. Let's take a listen on what they had to say about these arrests.
Well, my first response was I started crying because one, it was a swift arrest, and I appreciate that the law enforcement in Jackson County and the investigator, they literally put that time and effort in there to make sure that this was not something that settled, and they made sure that it was a swift justice. And I appreciate them taking that time and the effort that they put into the case to make sure that the people who did this they faced consequences for their actions.
She was a very sweet girl. Whenever she's hungry, she'd get like a big attitude, hungry attitude. And she's like, I'm hungry, give me something to drink or eat.
I feel like that is a very relatable feeling, absolutely. And, just talking to Garrett, you can tell how much he did really love this pig. I asked him if he plans on getting another pig, and he says that maybe he's just not sure about it right now. Obviously, things are still fresh for him because this really just happened a week ago. Now, on a positive note, the family says that people from all over the country have reached out to them, from Texas, obviously here in Georgia, wanting to give Garrett a pig. So they say they've been overwhelmed by support. We, of course, at the station also have heard from a lot of people who want to give Garrett a pig, and his parents say that they think that he will get back into it. He definitely just needs a little bit of time. Ariel?
Oh, Tara, a little time to process. Incredible to hear how the community has responded to Bootsy's loss and tried to rally around this family. I was laughing at what you said about how relatable it is that Bootsy would get a hungry attitude. When Garrett said that, I think we all can relate. One thing, Tara, I understand that Bootsy escaped her pen, unfortunately, and then was ultimately shot and killed, allegedly by those 3 people that police have arrested. I wasn't sure as to the motive, but it sounds like, based on some of the information that's been shared, those 3 people might have been thinking that they were going to eat that pig. Have you been able to get that confirmed?
Right. Well, that's definitely what the family thinks, and I think that's one of the parts that's most upsetting for them is they say that these people knew that Bootsy was Garrett's animal and that it wasn't, you know, just a wild animal that was out. And, you know, they say that Bootsy was only gone for a very short period of time, and unfortunately the family did hear that gunshot when the pig was killed. So, yes, they do think that these people who took the pig wanted to eat the pig.
Okay, Tara, good to know. Thanks so much for the update, and hopefully Garrett's able to get another animal. Obviously can't replace Bootsy, but that can fill his heart just a little bit once he's ready to do that. So Tara, thanks so much. As we continue along here at 2 o'clock, you guys, I want to tell you we're learning more about that deadly crash at a Kroger in Decatur. At this point, police are still investigating after two vehicles crashed into the Kroger on Decatur just Wednesday morning, or actually Wednesday afternoon. One woman was dead and another was hospitalized. But the DeKalb County Fire and Rescue says that ultimately when those vehicles crashed, they were pushed into the grocery store, like you can see from this video. The driver of the vehicle who caused the crash was rushed to the hospital with injuries. Another female driver died at the scene, and she was identified by the DeKalb County Medical Examiner just this morning as 49-year-old Giselle Perry. So we'll keep you updated as this continues forward. Keep in mind, two other juveniles were on the sidewalk when that crash happened, and both were rushed to the hospital for medical evaluations. I also want to let you know about this story. This is pretty interesting because I know a lot of us have seen this rapper Jay Wick on social media. We've seen his music, his performances, and he was actually arrested in Metro Atlanta in connection with a shooting at a Florida beach. Investigators say 26-year-old Donald Anderson, which is his government name, allegedly shot an 18-year-old man multiple times on Panama City Beach in Florida. Authorities say that Anderson then later performed at a nightclub after that shooting before he was ultimately taken into custody. Now, we know Anderson is from Cordell, and he's expected to be extradited to Florida. This investigation is still ongoing, and police are talking to witnesses. If convicted, Anderson faces a minimum mandatory sentence of 25 years in prison and up to life imprisonment. So we'll continue to keep you updated. And in case you have no idea who this man is, he is best known for his viral rap song back in 2025 called Pork Chop Sandwich. And it was he was a rising star on social media and other places before this happened. One thing also to keep in mind is that a federal judge has just ruled that the Department of Justice does not have to return the 2020 election ballots that they have seized from Fulton County. A federal judge said that the attorneys representing Fulton County did not prove that the FBI seizure was improper or unconstitutional. The physical ballots were taken from a warehouse outside of Atlanta in Fairburn back in January, as well as some other election materials. And Fulton County has long leaned Democrat, and it was the center of controversy after President Trump and his supporters falsely claimed widespread election fraud caused him to lose the 2020 election. The presidential votes in Georgia were counted 3 times, and each time did confirm Biden's win. Keep in mind as we continue here, speaking of Congress, let's move along because I want to talk to you about the vacancy left behind by Congressman David Scott. At this point, we're learning more about the candidates who want to fill that seat and serve the state of Georgia. And one of those would be none other than Congressman Scott's daughter. Let's get out to our Deidre Dukes, who joins us live. Deidre, what are you learning? I understand you spoke with his daughter and got a little bit more as to what she's hoping to achieve.
That's right. And Congressman David Scott served Georgia's 13th district for over 3 decades for much of his daughter Marcy Scott's life. And she would like to continue, she said, his unfinished work. She did recently announce that she will run in the special election to fill the remainder of her father's term. And she said that she really feels that her father would want her to continue in this role because she said that she had always planned, once her father retired, to run for his seat, not because she said that it was deserved because of her legacy candidacy as her father's daughter, but because she said she so believes in the work that her father did during his time leading in the district as representative for the 13th district, and saying that she grew up in that community and that she, like her father, loves the people in that district, and that she has seen the great work that he has done, and she'd like to continue to ensure that the unfinished work, the work that he had going, that she wants to complete that and make sure that all that he had hoped to accomplish during his tenure, that in fact she would have the opportunity to now continue that work. She said that she had always planned to run once he left office, once he retired, but with his untimely death, she said that she feels that her time is now, and so she does hope that she'll have the opportunity to do so. And here's what she had to tell me when I talked to her this week.
Just following him throughout his career, just learning, his skill sets, and just how he communicates and his love for the people of the district. And I was with him all the way, and I just don't see anything else for me to do but to fulfill that. And I say that I'm just finishing business. It's not just filling a seat, it's finishing his business.
And one of the things she said that she would like to do is ensure that some federal funding that she tells us he had secured for the district, she wants to make sure that that money is in fact makes it to the places that he wanted it to go to the constituents in his district, saying that she wants to make sure that if elected, those funds will be properly allocated. And so she really says that she just hopes that she'll have the opportunity, saying that she knows that she has to earn the vote of those constituents in her district, but saying that she would be honored to do so when she does hope she'll have that opportunity.
Deidre, really heartwarming to see any family member want to take up the mantle of their loved one in such a way. It's also, I love that she pointed out, she feels like she's finishing business and wants to make sure that the money that he was trying to get for Georgia's communities can stay here. We know that the congressman was obviously a ranking member very high up on the Agricultural Committee, and a lot of dollars flowed to Georgia because of his leadership. So I can understand the, I don't know if concern's the right word, but just the hope that a lot of those dollars will still come to our state.
That's right, absolutely. And she also was quite frank and open in expressing her frustration as to some of the response and reaction that her father's announcing that he was going to run for re-election, that he received once he made that announcement, because she said that her father had dedicated so much of his life to work in that district towards the betterment of Georgians. And she said that she really felt that there was a lot of work to be done, that he really had some unfinished business that he wanted to see to the end, see to fruition. And she personally thought that he had, would have been more than capable of having accomplished that goal if he were to be reelected. And so sadly, she felt, unfortunately, due to his sudden death, he would not be able to realize, the final efforts of what he had hoped to accomplish. So she does hope that she will, in fact, have the opportunity to do so.
Deidre, no doubt you'll continue to keep us updated as this moves forward. Thanks so much for joining us live. I'll let you go get dry there. I see it's drizzling outside, and we'll see you again later this evening. Deidre Dukes, thanks so much. As we continue, you guys, speaking of Congress, let's talk about a big investigation happening on Capitol Hill, because at this point, Congress has just wrapped up its questioning yesterday of Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Now, he appeared before members of the House Oversight Committee to testify about his relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is unprecedented because a cabinet official has never appeared before a congressional panel as part of an ongoing investigation. Bipartisan lawmakers had demanded that Lutnick sit for a closed-door interview about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Lutnick and Epstein were neighbors, and the secretary says they only met about 3 times. Lutnick previously said He broke off ties in 2005 with Epstein after spotting a massage table at Epstein's home. But in 2012, Lutnick and his family sailed to Epstein's private island years after Jeffrey Epstein's 2008 sex crime conviction. Lutnick had said that the only thing he saw on the island with his wife and his children and another couple they were with were staff that worked on the island. Democrats have flagged Lutnick's inconsistencies, but chair of the House Oversight Committee, Kentucky Representative James Comer, says Lutnick tried to clean up the discrepancy about dates. He says the chairman did not elaborate, or rather the secretary didn't really elaborate further. Democrats have questioned why the committee did not tape Lutnick's interview for people to watch. But keep in mind, the committee only videotapes witnesses under a subpoena, like the Clintons, who had dodged the committee for months. Lutnick appeared before the committee voluntarily. Take a listen to what both sides on the House Oversight Committee had to say.
Well, now we know why that interview was not videotaped. If Donald Trump had seen the video transcript, he would have fired Howard Lutnick. It was really embarrassing. He was asked very straightforward questions about whether he regretted misleading the American people. I mean, he said that he would never see Epstein again in 2005. And everyone knows that he took his wife and kids to see Epstein in 2012. And yet it was just contortions and lies and no acknowledgement that he misled the American public. And if you saw the exchanges that my colleagues had with him, you would see he made a farce of the English language. I mean, he was trying to define I as if saying that what he really meant is that he would not see Epstein alone, but be totally fine with having his wife and kids see Epstein. It made no sense. And then he's raised even more serious concerns about the investigation. He originally had said that Epstein engaged in blackmail and recorded videotapes. Now he's saying, well, he was wrong. He was just speculating, and Epstein actually didn't engage in blackmailing. This raises the question of what the cover-up is. Did someone tell him to say that? I've not heard that that Epstein never engaged in blackmail. Why is Howard Lutnick changing his testimony, changing his story? He's lost all credibility, and really it's a shame that the American people don't get to see what he did there. Total lack of truth and lack of honesty.
One of the things the Democrats said, but has come out, is that Secretary Lutnick has changed some of what he said, whether it's the timeline or whether it's going to the island. So do you feel like you got direct answers, or are you still concerned that he's changed the facts?
Right off the bat, he corrected his statement on the time that he came to the island, and he said, you know, that if I remember correctly, and you can look back on the transcript, he said that somehow Epstein found out that his family and friends were going to be vacationing in the Caribbean or around the Virgin Islands, and he invited them to lunch, and they docked there for, he thinks, no more than 2 hours. It was his wife and 4 other family members, and then six others. So there were 12 in a group. They didn't go in the house or anything there.
But did he explain why that was okay? When, you know, back in 2005, he seemed to suggest that he didn't want any further involvement with him. Did he explain that discrepancy in detail? And if so, what did he say?
I mean, I feel like that Lutnick's been very transparent. He came in voluntarily. I said before this thing started, the only thing that I had seen that Lutnick did wrong wasn't 100% truthful on the brief visit to the island with his family. He corrected that in his opening statement, and you know, we'll see. We'll continue our investigation, and if we find that there were any misstatements by Lutnick, it's a felony to lie to Congress, and he'll be held accountable.
So we'll continue to keep you updated as this moves forward. Keep in mind, President Trump says he stands behind Howard Lutnick and calls him, quote, an innocent guy. The next high-profile figure set to testify before the House Oversight Committee would be former Attorney General Pam Bondi. Her testimony is set later this month. And then in June, we are expected to hear from Bill Gates. So we will continue to be there every step of the way to keep you guys informed. But let's talk about the Hantavirus. I know there are a lot of questions as to what this virus looks like and where we go from here, especially since 2 Georgia residents are now being monitored at home here in Georgia after returning from this cruise ship linked to this Hantavirus outbreak. The Georgia Department of Public Health says that the 2 are back here in the state. They are currently in good health and show no signs of infection, and they are following CDC guidelines. The ship, the MV Hondius, is headed towards Spain's Canary Islands off the West African coast. It's expected to dock as soon as Saturday. Spanish health officials say nearly 150 people still on board will then undergo medical assessments and, if healthy, return to their home countries. So far, 3 passengers who were on the MV Hondius have died and 8 total cases have been recorded. Public health officials say contact tracing is now underway for about 40 others who disembarked after that first death. And that's because you can see from this video here, it shows the moment that initial death was announced on that ship. The captain said the person died from natural causes, and the doctor told him there was no contagious disease on board. Well, that turned out to not be true, but besides Georgia, health officials in Arizona are also monitoring people for potential infections. One former passenger says he left the ship on April 24th, 2 weeks or so after the first death was announced, without knowing anything about the virus. He says safety precautions were just simply introduced too late. Take a listen to what he had to say.
It was very shocking because we were on board with these people for 24 days straight. We had relationships. So I knew these people, and I'm very sad that they're going through this human crisis. I just wish them to get well, and now that they are being taken care of, and the World Health Organization is very keen on the topic, I'm very hopeful for their situation. I think his partner was not looking good for her last couple of days on board. I saw her not standing upright properly, and she looked not okay. So I think everyone thought that she was having a very deep grief. That's what we thought. And after we disembarked to St. Helena, she was with us. She was on the same flight to Johannesburg from St. Helena. We saw her on a wheelchair, which was also unusual. She had no problem with walking. So after she passed away, even though I'm not on board anymore, I heard from the passengers that they are now in isolation, and they're wearing masks. They're not having meal times altogether, so they are in their cabin. But these kind of cautions are taking place, but they are late. So I wish that we were quicker to respond.
So you can hear from that passenger who left the ship before he knew he had been exposed to the virus. And a top epidemiologist at the World Health Organization says this hantavirus outbreak is not the next COVID-19 for a few reasons. That's the big question a lot of people have is could this be the next outbreak or the next pandemic? She says this is a known virus that we know how to treat, whereas COVID-19 was something completely new that we didn't know how to treat just yet. She also says the risk is low. Take a listen to some of what she had to say.
But the Andes virus can have some human-to-human transmission. So for our point of view, from a public health perspective, this is what we are assuming, and we're trying to take the maximum level of precautions, balancing risk. And please let me just add that the risk to the general public is low. And I think we need to contextualize this because there's a lot of attention, and it's good that we're seeing attention, but we do want to put in context to what we mean for everyone saying, oh my gosh, is this the next one? I think people see me sometimes and they think, it's like the next COVID, and I really just want to assure people this is something that's quite different.
So she says the risk to the public is low. While this virus can be deadly, ultimately, they say that this is something that they're going to continue to monitor. As always, we'll keep you updated right here on Fox 5. I know a lot of you guys are concerned, especially with the World Cup upcoming and a lot of different travelers coming here to our city from all across the world. So this is going to be something that we continue to monitor here. Coming up next, we're going to bring you a little closer to home as we talk about our weather forecast for the weekend as we start to look ahead. That's coming up. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here at 2 o'clock on your Thursday afternoon. We saw a lot of rain and some wild weather yesterday, but things do appear to be a bit calmer. And now we have meteorologist Greg Majeski standing by to give us the update looking ahead. Greg?
Well, at least we're done with the rain. That's the good news for the rest of the day. But the better news is the fact that we're going to take a nice little stab at our drought conditions across the area. Now, as you can see, we had several distinct layers or lining up of storms that moved through the yellow areas you see here are basically 2 to 3 inch totals here. There's even some 4s in here, but clearly a nice spread of some pretty good heavy rains here across the area, and that's some good news. Now, the drought index came out today. It does not take into account what we just got. So this map here, which was just updated today, is going to change substantially as we go into next week. Now, the level 4 exceptional drought here has got a little bit bigger here, but I do expect we're going to at least take a nice little stab at this and kind of get it down a little bit, and hopefully we'll continue with a pattern that brings us regular intervals of rain so that we can kind of get this back down. That's going to take about 20 inches of rain over the next 3 months to get us there, and at least getting 2 to 3 inches of rain at one time, that's a nice little chunk of change to get that going. So it's interesting. It's kind of milder here to the east and cooler there in the west. It's holding on the 60s over there. Some lower clouds kind of lingering, and we were waiting for the clouds to break. It's been very, very slow to happen. I mean, I kind of figured it was going to probably be late in the day to kind of see that. The 73 in Clayton, 59 up there in Blue Ridge, 64 in Rome, 73 in Eatonton. So it's been kind of stuck here. As you can see, the clouds are starting to break up here just a little bit here, where it's the thicker clouds and the temperatures are being kept down a little bit. So we're going to try to break this down a little bit. Eventually this clearing is going to move into the area, and tomorrow will be kind of a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. A generally nice looking day. It will be cooler in the morning. Now, our normal lows are supposed to be right around getting close to 60 this time of year. So noticeably cooler right there for tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow we'll see afternoon highs in the upper 60s in the mountain, low 70s. I think the clouds here are just a little bit overdone, but we'll have some sunshine in here for tomorrow. Then the question for the weekend is going to be wet weather. Okay, so we've got a couple of minor, what I call fairly weak systems coming at us here. No severe expected. We might get some rain, maybe a little bit of thunder, and it's favoring right now Saturday afternoon here, looking a little wet with some showers and a few thunderstorms. Again, nothing severe expected with this moving on through, but quickly moves on out of here, and it may allow us our Sunday to look a little bit better. So that's some good news here. As far as rainfall amounts, that's ticked up here a little bit here on the new update here. So a ½ inch here in Atlanta, maybe 1.5 inches up there Gainesville. So again, not quite as heavy as what we just received, but this on top of what we just got, again, give the drought another little kick there and kind of knock it down just a little bit. So we'll see how that works out here for the weekend. So forecast here as we go in for tonight. Going to see things looking pretty good, I think, as we're going to eventually get the skies to clear a little bit. And looks like we're in store for a pretty nice weekend once we get past that. I think I'm going to up this rain chance here a little bit based off what we're seeing with the new guidance here. Maybe knock that down a little bit. And then next week for sure, looking very nice. We got a nice little warm up, getting back up to 80 degrees. Another little brief cool down there. Notice we're back down to 51 on Tuesday. So a couple little cool downs coming our way. And the weekend might have to dodge some raindrops there. So just plan accordingly.
All right, Greg, thanks so much. We definitely will. See you again here later with another update at 3 o'clock. Thank you so much. Okay. As we continue at 2 o'clock for now, you guys, let's continue with what we're seeing at the pumps with the gas price spike, because we're getting new research from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and it's found that households earning less than $40,000 a year reduced their gas consumption by 7% after the beginning of the Iran war. Surging prices still force them to spend 12% more. And I know for a lot of us, this research might kind of be like a duh moment, right? Of course, if you make less money, you're going to be more affected when prices spike. But we are seeing this higher income households defined as earning more than $125,000 a year, increase their spending 19% while only reducing consumptions about 1%. Middle income households fell somewhere in between. But this report also found gaps between each income level, and ultimately the figures suggest what economists are saying is the K-shaped economy, referring to higher net worth individuals continuing to do well while lower income households fall behind. As of Tuesday, gas prices have surged 50% since the war in Iran began on February 28th. The White House continues to say that as soon as the war ends, gas prices will plummet. In the meantime, DoorDash is taking some plans to try to support its drivers, because all of those having to drive and who rely on gas to make a living are really feeling the squeeze. DoorDash says it's going to spend more than $50 million in gas relief for its drivers. The announcement comes after the food delivery company says it's temporarily going to offer additional compensation to its U.S. and Canadian drivers with hopes to offset that increase in gas prices. According to data from AAA, the national average for a gallon of gas was $4.53 Wednesday, up 44% from a year ago. DoorDash says deliveries remained strong between January and March despite the higher prices, but total orders still fell short of previous Wall Street estimates. The company cited the effect of winter storms closing businesses and decreasing demand in some areas. DoorDash also says it plans to pay for the new gas relief plan by adjusting its investments. The company did say last year it plans to spend heavily on new products and services this year, including adding restaurant reservations to its app and robot delivery. So that's going to be something that we keep an eye on. But let's talk about where we stand in the cause of all this, the war with Iran. Where are we in terms of getting a peace deal? At this point, President Trump says a peace deal with Iran could be reached in as soon as a week. Negotiators are working through reportedly a one-page framework that would hopefully set the stage for the war's end. We've seen life in Iran's capital from this video, at least, that's been released, show things as mostly normal a month into the ceasefire with the United States and Israel. According to Axios, U.S. and Iranian officials are trying to hash out this 14-point agreement. It would see Iran reportedly commit to never developing a nuclear weapon and pausing its uranium enrichment, two key U.S. demands. The Iran has been at the table before, though, without making any deal. The White House officials are optimistic this time may be different, thanks to the U.S. naval blockade on Iran's ports, which is preventing Iran from exporting its oil and threatening Iran's economy. The big question now is whether President Trump can get a deal in place before he meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping next week. China and Iran met together this week, and Beijing could take a larger diplomatic role if the conflict is not resolved. You guys know Pakistan has been the leading negotiator so far between the United States and Iran. So we'll continue to keep you updated there. Also want to let you know, this is interesting. ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, plans to end its shortened training programs. DHS officials said just yesterday that ICE agents are now going to enter 72 days of training at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center right here in Georgia. This is as opposed to that 42-day accelerated course that was implemented last fall. This comes as ICE completed a surge in hiring that more than doubled the number of agents, and after lawmakers on both sides of the aisle aired concerns that lower training standards for ICE agents could be causing some issues. This comes after the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens at the hands of ICE agents earlier this year. As we continue here at 3 o'clock, or 2 o'clock, you guys, let me not get ahead of myself. We are going to check in with our Doug Evans about the latest regarding a high school teacher that's been arrested for allegedly exposing themselves to students. Doug joins us coming up. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here in our 2 o'clock hour. But let's get out live to our Doug Evans, because a high school teacher has been accused of exposing himself to students. And Doug, I understand this teacher in Coweta County, you're trying to figure out where police are in their investigation.
That's right. A letter went home to parents here from East Coweta High School from the principal, Steve Allen, just this morning. And that letter, and I have a digital copy here in my hand, informed them that an East Coweta High School teacher has been charged with indecent exposure for an incident that happened in the classroom. The letter goes on to identify the teacher as Lewis McCarty and says that it happened in a health and PE class on Tuesday, according to the letter, and that this charge stemmed from some concerns that were brought to the school administration's attention. Now, I just got off the phone with the Coweta County Sheriff's Office, and they want to clarify something. He has been charged, yes, a warrant has been drawn, but he has not yet been arrested. And so they are either in the process of making that arrest, or they are giving Mr. McCarty a chance to turn himself into the jail, which is not unusual in such cases. The other thing that I can tell you is that I've talked with the school district today about Lewis McCarty. He is not only a teacher, and apparently a teacher in this classroom of health and PE, but also he is the athletic trainer here at East Coweta High School, according to Dean Jackson, the spokesman for the Coweta County school system. McCarty has only been employed, he tells me, for 1 year. So this letter went home today. The letter outlines that a teacher has been charged. The sheriff's office clarifying that, yes, he's been charged, but has not yet been arrested.
Okay.
Ariel?
Good to know, Doug. Curious situation indeed, and especially because I would imagine a lot of parents have questions as to the status of this individual, whether or not they're actually arrested and in police custody. I know you're working to get more information as we continue here for the evening. Before I let you go, anything else stand out to you that you want to mention to those who are streaming along with us?
Yeah, let me just take a look at this. They go on to say that I'm quoting from Steve Allen's letter, the principal here, that they immediately investigated and then called in the Coweta County Sheriff's Office. That's who handles the SRO here at this school, and that he's been charged. You know, it goes on to say the usual things. Our school system emphasizes safety and the well-being of the students and staff. That's our utmost priority. It's always a goal to be proactive when the safety of students or questions about behavior of staff or students on the campus arise. Please remind students to notify the administration at any time when they are concerned about their safety. So that's it. That's all we know.
Okay.
And because, Ariel, he has been charged and not arrested, we also don't have a mugshot for this individual. It's interesting that when this letter came out, I immediately contacted the sheriff's office, because you assume when a person's been charged that there's going to be a mugshot and everything else.
Right.
They write back and say he hasn't been arrested. So that's got everybody scratching their heads.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so they clarify that point just a little bit, that it did. He has been charged. It
Just
has
not
been
arrested.
investigated, but he has not yet been taken into custody. One more thing that I want to elaborate on in my discussion with the sheriff's office this afternoon, and they say that it did happen in class, that the teacher was sitting, I guess, at the front of the class, and that he exposed his genitalia. A direct quote from the sheriff's office spokesman, Chris Ricketson. So how that comes about, I don't know. A lot of questions still to be answered in this case, Ariel.
Doug, no doubt you'll keep us updated as it moves forward, and we'll see you again later this evening. Thanks so much for joining us and letting us know about this investigation and where things stand. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, you guys, let's go out to a data center, or rather a local company that is trying to put data centers into space. You know, there's a lot of concerns about data centers here on Earth and how they consume a lot of water. Well, it sounds like this company's trying to address that. Chris Rosenthal joins us live to give us a tour of. Chris, I understand this local company is Atomic 6 is the name.
Yep, Atomic 6 here in Marietta. They've been around since 2018, but orbital data centers, this is a new side of their business that they are venturing in on, and I've been here touring their facility a little bit today, here with Trevor Smith. He is the owner, founder, CEO of this company. Trevor, thanks for joining us here. And first of all, tell me, orbital data centers, what is that?
Oh, well, it's exactly as it sounds, data centers, but in space. So the reason you want to put them in space is power and cooling, right? The free energy we get from the sun and the coldness of space, and that's the quick general idea of why we're putting data centers in space.
And I think that's often we hear about the data centers here on land, and there's a lot of some people are not happy about it, a lot of controversy with that. Those are the two issues that are the big ones right there. That helps.
Two big ones: the power and cooling. Yes.
So you guys are part of this. Tell me what you guys are doing to help with that. What's your role in this?
So sure. Talk about power and cooling. At our core, we are what's called a composite company. We make advanced lightweight structures. So think carbon fiber, like you've seen it on a race car, things that move fast. So we make deployable structures for space. And those deployable structures, meaning deployable, it deploys out from a satellite. They are power and cooling. So we have two products. One is called Lightwing. That is a deployable solar array that captures the energy from the sun to power that data center. And then we have a Hot Wing. I hope you like the name. You can get it in Thai, spicy, barbecue, buffalo. But yes, Hot Wing is a deployable radiator, and it uses the same deployable architecture that our solar array system does. So when we look at data centers, the two big things are power and cooling, and those are the two things that we are supplying through ODC.space.
ODC, orbital data centers. This is new. This is cutting edge, huh? I mean, you're right on the forefront of it.
It is quite new, so much so that we are actually the first in the world to put out a public price on a data center in space. So nowhere else in the world, at least today, this morning when I checked, there's no one putting a price on it, and you can actually log into ODC.space today and get a price for different amounts of compute in space.
And you guys have put out some bids, a lot of money in this potentially down the road, huh?
Yeah, so our Lightwing redeployable solar array system, we've actually put about $4 billion in bids out in the past 12 months. So we have a very unique solar array system that's gotten a lot of attention.
This is some of the, we talk about the carbon fiber. This is some of the stuff right here. We can take a look at it here.
Yeah, sure. So I'll start here. This is a backsheet. So a panel, you can imagine solar cells going on this, and this will fly in space. So we're showing you the subcomponents of it. And then this is what we call a deployable mast. So it goes flat like that, and you can roll it up just like a tape measure. So I can show you this. If you scoot back just a little bit, you can see it rolls out just like this. So this is obviously a small scale. But it's a deployable solar array. And this is a larger version of that. So we'll make really, really big structures. Think football field long solar array structures that can roll up flat, just like that, and then pop out for that power that's needed, as well as the radiator.
And very lightweight. Well, appreciate you showing us this. And we'll be here again at 3 o'clock, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. Again, orbital data centers in space, something new, something hopefully address the terrestrial data center concerns. Thank
Chris,
you.
This is so interesting. I want to stay on this forever and keep exploring. I'm glad we'll see you again at 3, and you can start with the tour and keep showing us all the cool tools he's got at his disposal. Chris Rosenthal, thank you so much. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, you guys, we are in for tours on your Thursday. Coming up, we are going inside of Verizon with our Maria Guzman, and we're going to get a look at how they manage a nerve center to keep everyone connected. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here in the 2 o'clock hour. Let's go out live to check in with our Maria Guzman, who joins us live from a Verizon Nerve Center. And Maria, I understand these are really important to helping keep our first responders connected in times of disaster.
Hey, Ariel. Yeah, so this campus where I'm at right now is a top secret network center. And just to paint you a picture on how it works here, it's basically, for example, if I was a Verizon user and I'm sending a message to a loved one, or if I'm calling a first responder, my call, my text message comes right through this building. So to tell us a little bit more about it, I have here Jennifer with Verizon. And Jennifer, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just talk about the critical role this campus, but also all this different type of resources that we have here just play in an emergency.
Yeah, so those critical communications come through this building, you know, for our customers as well. And what you're seeing in this parking lot are really just a handful of all of the mobile assets Verizon has staged around the country in the event of a natural disaster or the need in a local community. So you can see the various different types of assets. You coordinate with local communities, first responders, you know, that set up mobile emergency operations centers to deploy these assets so that our customers and our communities can reach out to first responders as needed. So.
Yes, I was learning about this. I know that you described it as like rapid recovery. If that communication is ever broken off, this is when these resources are used. So just walk me through just some examples of when you guys had to use these.
Yeah, so, you know, in Hurricane Helene 2024, we had to deploy several of these assets in South Georgia, you know, all the way up into Augusta because there were numerous power outages and, you know, fiber outages in the area that took days to recover. So we knew our first responders, local communities, municipalities needed, you know, communication restored right away. And so these assets allow us to be able to restore that communication almost immediately. So you have anything from a Wi-Fi solution, you know, that we can stand up at an emergency operations center to provide, you know, communications, you know, phone calls, to a satellite solution if we need to repair a backhaul at one of our sites, to a full site that can be deployed if we need to put up a temporary tower with these larger trailers and things like that.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I mean, we're talking about tornadoes, hurricanes, severe weather.
That's right.
This is ready.
That's right.
And I know you mentioned, too, this also comes out to play during other big events. So let's talk about that one because Atlanta is expecting a big event.
Yes, absolutely. So our network is ready for FIFA, which is coming to Atlanta in just a month. So we're ready to handle the crowds that are expected here, but we will be monitoring our network and our command center, which is located in this building as well. And so if ever we do need some, you know, capacity related activity, we can deploy these assets as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been just super interested to learn all about that. So we're going to continue to be here at this top secret network center. So stay with us for the next hour. Ariel.
Maria, thanks so much. Really great to get a live look at how all of this works. We'll see you again here upcoming at 3. Guys, let's switch gears here and end on something really happy happening. I understand a Yappy Hour celebration is underway for National Pet Month. So Eli Jordan joins us live. Eli, what's happening?
Can I get a shot of tequila? Can I get a shot of whipped cream? Hey, Ariel, yeah, it's Yappy Hour here, and I'm buying shots for the young puppies that can't, you know, aren't old enough to buy it. But yeah, it's happy hour here at Lanier Villages Estates, and we got Mabel right here. Mabel, I got you a shot. Here you go. It's oh my goodness, yeah. Here, I'll let you have that. This is Mabel. She is from the Humane Society of Northeast Georgia. I'm going to sit this down here, Mabel, because I can't been down that far. And this is Sandy Holiday, and we are at the Yappy Hour event. Hey, Sandy, thanks for joining us. And so tell me, you guys have partnered with the Village Estates here before, and so tell me, what is this event like? What's it like to bring the dogs up here and promote adoption and also companionship?
This is a great opportunity. So Lanier Village Estates is one of our great partners because our mission is to help animals and people live better together, and that is something that Lanier Village Estates supports, and they make pets part of the community. So we're out here at this event called the Yappy Hour, and it's about companionship, and companionship partnership on both sides improves everybody's well-being. For the animals to be out today, it gives them a break from being in the kennels. It empties the kennels, socializes them, and then of course brings some joy and love to the residents here.
And Mabel right here, she's adoptable, correct?
Mabel is adoptable. She's 4 months old.
She's a good dog. I haven't heard her whine or bark or
very
complain
loving,
once.
very sweet, gets along with everybody.
So tell me about the need for adoption. I mean, it seems like we're getting a lot of emails from different shelters all over the state, how they're full, save dogs, because they're kill lists and things like that. Just tell me about just how the desperate need animals are for adopting.
Yeah, we always say adopt, don't shop, because we are a no-kill shelter. So our job is to get as many animals into our shelter, adopted out, so we can pull animals from the shelters that do kill. So it's really important because those shelters are getting full. So we need people to foster, adopt, volunteer, and again, it's the companionship. It's really just coming out and understanding that developing that connection between you and an animal really pays dividends for the rest of both lives.
Because it's unconditional love.
It is unconditional.
They're always
love.
there. They kind of reset your day if you're feeling stressed out.
Yeah,
they remind you to take a pause and relax and chill.
Yeah, I tell you, I have kids, and it is so much better being around animals sometimes because they don't judge. They rely on you for everything, and again, it's really important that we get as much awareness out there as possible. We need people to come to the Humane Society of Northeast Georgia. If you can adopt, foster, it gives space for us to bring in another homeless animal and find their forever home. And we're happy to be here with Mabel.
And Lanier Villages Estates, I mean, they're very pet friendly. I mean, residents here have a lot of the pets out here are residential pets. They got a dog park here. That's important.
I tell you, the culture here is different, right? I mean, they don't just allow animals, but they make the animals part of the community. So the fact that they have walking trails, dog stations, they have parks, and they're doing this, and they have healthy treats for the pets and for the owners. It's phenomenal. They don't just talk about it, they live it, and that's why we're here today to partner with them.
And also too, the older people get, the smaller the friend circle is, and just having that companion at home waiting on you is so important and so helpful.
Yes,
and
one thing you just brought up was the loneliness. So we have a program called Senior to Seniors where we try to pair senior animals with seniors because both suffer from loneliness, depression. So we try to bring them together. And again, it's that company, it's that support, it's just giving each other comfort. It's just so helpful and really makes loving them worth every minute of it.
Yeah, animals are cool. They should live longer. They should live as long as we do, so we don't have to go through such heartbreak, But I love my pet, and I know everybody else loves their pets too. And pets are special. Sandy, thank you very much for speaking with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for bringing the doggies up here for these residents to check out. Ariel, that's what is happening here. It's been a yappy hour. We've been hitting shots of whipped cream and little doggy treats and just getting really loaded up here. And Charlie Brown here, Charlie Brown is getting a little wild. And so that's what's been happening here in Gainesville. Seniors hanging out with the doggies and
they're
having
so
a little bit
cute.
of companionship and maybe thinking about adoption.
I love the little fits. They're so cute. I see a little doxy mix, it looks like, back there. So Eli, keep your eyes out for me. We will see you again here at 3 o'clock. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. All right, guys, I would love to stay with these sweet fellows forever, but it is time to move on because here upcoming at 3, we've got a lot of news headed your way. Tom Haynes is standing here getting ready to take over. We have the latest on the Hantavirus straight ahead. Our Tyler Finger's going to join us, as well as other news and weather items. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour, everybody. I'm Tom Haynes, live with you here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom to walk you through the next hour of news. And boy, do we got a lot going on, something that you should all be aware of. If you're users of I-285, it's going to be a disaster, to say the least, this Mother's Day weekend because of a huge construction project that's happening. Let me tell you a little bit more about what's going on. A massive construction project set to bring the west side of 285 to a crawl, we understand, according to Department of Transportation authorities. Crews are working around the clock to replace aging concrete slabs to install new median barriers. This is starting Friday at 7 p.m. GDOT shutting down all lanes of I-285 in both directions. And I want to be specific here. This is between Cascade Road and MLK Jr. Drive. So try to picture that in your heads. West Side Perimeter, Cascade, MLK Jr. Drive, Friday, 7 p.m. That thing's going to be shut down. So if you're headed south, you're going to need to be detoured onto I-20 toward the connector. If you're going north, expected to be diverted onto Langford Parkway. Officials say the lanes will not reopen until 5 a.m. Monday. This is part of a $200 million project that's expected to last until 2028 or so. So plan on heavy delays on those back roads all weekend long. We'll continue to monitor that traffic situation and tell you more about it. Meantime, 2 Georgia residents are among those returning from a cruise ship linked to a deadly Hantavirus outbreak. It's kind of a hard one to say. It's something that we've never heard of. Apparently a rat-borne disease. These passengers died on board the ship, leaving others to wonder why they were not warned sooner. The 2 Georgia residents returned home safely, no doubt shaken up, however. Let's get out to Tyler Fingert for the latest on the investigation. Tyler, so they're back home now, and I'm assuming unaffected by this virus.
Virus, but I'll tell you, the Georgia Department of Public Health has said 2 of those people on board that cruise ship, unfortunately, are from Georgia. They came back here, and now they're actively being monitored. Currently, they have not had any symptoms, but they are monitoring them in case they do develop symptoms, because this is obviously a very new type of virus that people don't really know about. The virus has obviously been around, the Hantavirus, but in this case, it is something that most of us really have not heard of. The CDC here in DeKalb County and helping to provide technical assistance to health officials. Situations center of the deadly global health emergency. And what, yeah, Tom?
Yeah, Tyler, just having a little bit of audio difficulty with you. You're clear now, but I'm going to jump in if we lose you one more time. So continue, please.
Yeah, so we know Georgia is also linked to this. As I mentioned, that Georgia health officials confirmed 2 Georgia passengers from the outbreak-stricken ship are back home under active monitoring for hantavirus, and so far both remain symptom-free. As I mentioned, the World Health Organization says 3 people have died, with at least 8 others infected or suspected of having the rare Andes strain, as it's known, one of the only known forms of hantavirus capable of limited human-to-human spread. Health officials say this is not another COVID-style threat, but they are closely tracking possible exposures across multiple countries. This virus is usually linked to infected rodents, and investigators believe the initial exposure may have happened during a bird-watching trip in southern Argentina. Symptoms can begin like the flu before rapidly escalating into severe respiratory distress, we're told, with an incubation period of up to 6 weeks. Monitoring for exposed passengers could last well into the summer. While some passengers have left the ship, nearly 150 others remain isolated in cabins as international health officials work to prevent further spread. Dutch reports also indicate KLM with an affected passenger has now been hospitalized, underscoring how quickly global travel can move rare viruses across borders. Take a listen to Dr. Jody Guest from the Rollins School of Public Health at Emory University. Take a listen to what she told me.
We are not going to see a COVID-like spread because this is not as transmissible from human to human the way COVID is. But we want to be clear that there are people who have departed from this particular cruise ship already, and they are being monitored and alerted to be looking for symptoms. And so we already have a case in Switzerland of a person who had departed the cruise ship, was alerted to go to a hospital to be checked, did so, and is a confirmed case of hantavirus. And now from that, the WHO then goes and does surveillance of where has this person been and who were they in contact with. So you can see how a surveillance system expands as we have more cases. And that surveillance system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
We just switched our mic. Hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit better now, Tom, but I can tell you health officials stress that the public risk remains low here simply because of the type of spreading this type of virus is capable of. It's simply not like COVID, they tell us, but they say protection and a to try to figure
All right, Tyler, not great with the audio,
virus.
so I'm going to jump back in. I don't know what's going on out there, but we'll let you clean it up and get back to you. But thanks for the latest on those couple of Georgians returning home, again, thankfully, safely from that cruise, not affected by that virus. Tyler, thanks. Still, some alarming details there about just what happened in the first place. A lot of you cruisers out there, but this seems like an isolated virus. Usually it's like a norovirus that breaks out on a cruise ship, right? We either get sick from the food or something else going around that causes a stomach virus and then it spreads to other passengers. This, we understand, was a rat-borne illness coming from feces or urine droppings, and that somehow got into the system there and killed 2 passengers, elderly passengers, with obviously already weakened immune systems. But 2 from Georgia, they're home safely, as Tyler just reported, and we heard from the CDC. Moving on here at 3, DeKalb County Police investigating a tragic and chaotic scene after a deadly crash at a Decatur Kroger. Witnesses say that an SUV was traveling at a high rate of speed when it slammed into another vehicle, pinning both cars against the side of the grocery store on Wesley Chapel Road. The medical examiner has identified the victim as 49-year-old Giselle Perry, who died at the scene, we understand. The other driver and 2 juveniles on the sidewalk were rushed to the hospital for evaluation. The other driver, police still working to determine if a medical emergency or mechanical failure caused that driver to lose control. An Atlanta rapper known for as Jay Wick is behind bars today, accused of opening fire at a Florida beach before taking the stage at a nightclub. 26-year-old Donald Anderson is his name, arrested by U.S. Marshals in Metro Atlanta yesterday in connection with an April shooting in Panama City Beach. Investigators say that Anderson shot an 18-year-old man multiple times and then fled the scene to perform a scheduled set at a nearby club. Police recovered a firearm during the arrest, and Anderson now faces an attempted murder charge. The Cordele native remains in custody, awaiting extradition back to Florida, where he faces a minimum of 25 years in prison if convicted. The Department of Justice doesn't have to return those 2020 election ballots they seized from Georgia's Fulton County election headquarters. This is a story we've been on top of for quite some time. A federal judge said the attorneys representing Fulton County did not prove that the FBI seizure was improper or unconstitutional. The physical ballots were taken from a warehouse outside Atlanta back in January, as well as other election materials. Fulton County has long leaned Democrat and was at the center of the controversy after President Donald Trump and his supporters claimed that widespread election fraud caused him to lose the 2020 election in Georgia to President Biden. The presidential votes in Georgia were counted 3 times, and each time confirmed Biden's win. Also in the news here during the 3 o'clock stream this afternoon, Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens ready to end a year-long stalemate with the city's firefighters. The mayor says that he will finally sign a collective bargaining agreement this Monday, ending a dispute that led to a breach of contract lawsuit The latest on what changed and what is the new deal. We go to Fox 5's Angelique Proctor, who covers all things sort of City Hall, mayor-related, and this issue, Angelique, between the Firefighters Union and the mayor's office.
That is right. Good afternoon to you, Tom. It has been a very fractured relationship between Mayor Andre Dickens and the 900 firefighters here in the city of Atlanta, but all of that appears to be changing. Well, what caused it? On Monday of this week, the Firefighters Union elected a new president. I'd like for you to take a look now and meet Captain Alvin Rashad, who is a 19-year veteran of the fire department and is now the Atlanta Professional Firefighters I-285 Local 134 president. Now, President Rashad succeeds outgoing President Nate Bailey. This leadership change is just what Mayor Andre Dickens wanted to see. He sent a letter to all firefighters on Monday of this week, pledging his absolute support of firefighters, and he vowed to sign that collective bargaining agreement. And of course, that is a historic agreement, the city's first. He says he will sign that this upcoming Monday, May 11th. Listen now to President Rashad's greeting to council earlier this week during the budget hearings.
Good afternoon, Madam President, Council. I'm just going to kind of make a statement with our transition going on. I just want to kind of introduce myself. Of course, like he said, my name's Alvin Rashad. I'm the newly elected president of the Local 134. I'm also a resident of District 12, and I appreciate you all, giving us the opportunity to speak. And honestly, just kind of running a contested campaign for the first time, I kind of understand what you guys go through, some of the good, the bad, the ugly, but I truly respect, you all going through that process, and then I take my hats off to you, truly respect that. Because I got elected just yesterday, I want to recognize Nate Bailey for his leadership and the service at the local. He has his dedication, and he's going to continue. Nate Bailey is not going away. He's the state president, and he's going to be advocating for members all over the state of Georgia, not just the Local 134. So thank you, Nate, for your service.
And so former local president Nate Bailey, again now state president, told council that firefighters' expectations are that higher and much more competitive pay scales really will top their agenda. That is what the firefighters are looking for once the mayor signs a collective bargaining agreement on Monday. Here's Bailey.
We're never going to ask y'all to make us the highest paid in the Southeast. We know it's a municipal budget. Our ask is always going to be top training, the best equipment, and make us competitive. Make us competitive in pay, like at least get us close. As President Rashad was saying, we surveyed our members. Number one was the pay plan. Right behind it was healthcare costs. And when you have kids and you get married and you see that healthcare is $1,000 a month, taking out your check, Atlanta actually has the highest for family health care, the highest around.
And so, of course, what was not mentioned, the elephant in the room, is what happens to that lawsuit. You may recall the Firefighters Union filed a lawsuit against Mayor Dickens in the city back in March. Well, that lawsuit is still pending, but the prevailing thought is that once the mayor signs this collective bargaining agreement on Monday, perhaps that will go away. Now, I asked the union directly, would they be dropping the suit? And this is what they said. Our legal team is reviewing the matter and is committed to working with Mayor Dickens and the city to build on this progress and strengthen the fire department for the communities that they serve and the firefighters who protect them. So we will all be watching on Monday. Tom?
Yeah, Angelique, this was a first of its kind in so many ways, and sort of abnormal, if you will, politically speaking. Andre Dickens is a Democrat, and I'm assuming a pro-union guy, but the coming to the terms of this contract was something that both sides were having difficulty doing. Sounds like they finally reached a resolution, but we sort of charted some new ground here.
Now, when you say charted some new ground, it seems like the mayor got what he wanted. He wanted new leadership in the union, and that is exactly what happened. And so now that the mayor has gotten what he wants, the firefighters now want those pay increases that they have talked about. Of course, they did a study, compared Atlanta to a lot of other cities, and they say, quite frankly, we came up short. They are ready to now get our salaries up for firefighters, and they are believing that the mayor will come to the table during this next budget process.
Yeah, well, I guess what I meant by that was it's the first ever collective bargaining agreement between the city and firefighters. So, but, you know, at the end of the day, as you said, the mayor ultimately got what he wanted, and that is the new chief. So we'll see how it proceeds from here. Angelique Proctor for us. Thanks so much. Well, all the talk of the town is about soccer with the World Cup coming in just over a month, and a new chapter for U.S. soccer begins today, speaking of, in Fayette County with the grand opening of the Arthur M. Blank National Training Center. Let's get up to Justin Felder, who's there live covering this historic, if you will, Justin, milestone.
And it is, Tom. We're here live in Fayette County, like you said, at the National Soccer Training Center. Just wrapped up the grand opening ceremony, which you got to see a little bit if you were with us at 1 o'clock here, streaming live on Fox Local and across all the platforms. But an exciting day, an incredible building, and we've got some video to show you as we got a chance to walk around, see some of the sights in here. It's something. It's the home, like you said, for U.S. soccer and the U.S. men's national team as they get ready for the World Cup. They'll be here in just a couple weeks, taking advantage of all the amenities, whether it is the 17 practice fields, the 300,000 square feet of indoor space here. Hey, maybe it's the nap pods, maybe it's the hydrotherapy room, the locker room, the kitchen, all those things. But it's not just the men's national team. It's going to be the women's national team, the youth teams, the wheelchair soccer teams, the disability national teams, the extended national teams, so much. There's going to be a whole lot of people coming through here. But of course, with the World Cup coming up that you're going to be able to see on Fox 5, that's a lot of the focus. It's an exciting place right now. We're inside one of those practice fields. I can show you live just a little bit. One of the huge indoor practice fields here. Of course, you know, Georgia in the summer, maybe sometimes you want to come indoors. The outdoor fields are really impressive as well. But it's some kind of facility. We, of course, had Arthur Blank, his son Josh Blank here today, had other business representatives here as well. We had Dan Cathy, of course, well known from Chick-fil-A, from Trilith Studios. He was here, as well as all kinds of representatives from U.S. soccer, from the men's and women's side, from Atlanta United. Really an exciting day, Tom, as Atlanta and Georgia as a whole continue to stake their claim as the soccer capital of the United States.
And Justin, I'm just, as you're talking there and showing us around a little bit, I'm just reading some pretty impressive statistics that this is a 230-acre facility, 17 fields, the center for the men's national teams, the coaches, the athletes. I mean, it just seems like a massive venue.
Yeah, absolutely it is. We mentioned, you know, the 300,000 square feet just indoors. The price tag came out to around $250 million. Arthur Blank chipped in $50 million of that as well. And it's going to be an impact beyond just this building, beyond just the soccer world, into the community. We actually heard from JT Batson from U.S. Soccer today. He said when this project was conceived, right, when it was conceived, U.S. Soccer was based in Chicago. Their workforce was about 200 people for U.S. Soccer. Now it's 600, and the vast majority of those are relocating or have already relocated to this area, to Atlanta, to Georgia. So it's a job story as well. So they're expecting this area to develop around this facility as events are coming here and tournaments are able to come here. So it's not just the U.S. men's national soccer team, though obviously with the World Cup coming up, we're all pretty excited about that too.
Yeah, and this took a coming together of local governments, the philanthropic efforts of Arthur Blank, local leaders, businesses. So you really had a lot of people coming together to step up to get this facility off the ground.
We did, and you heard a lot from people. Look, we're going to be focusing on how this helps the national teams get ready to compete for championships, make run at the World Cup. But we heard a lot today, including from Arthur Blank himself, about how they hope this helps grow the game of soccer. Arthur Blank credited Josh Blank, his middle son, who was a soccer player growing up, a collegiate soccer player, for showing him the power of the sport. And the head coach of the U.S. women's national team was here, and she wasn't just talking about how much her team, the best of the best, the entire world will benefit. She said her hope is that this facility can be a part in making soccer the #1 participation sport in the country. So they feel like it goes beyond just the top of the top, just the 1% of the 1%. They feel like this can be a hub for growing the game, not just in Georgia and Atlanta, but across the country.
Gosh, you just talk about icons of Atlanta, people who have helped shape this city and what we're all about. We just lost Ted Turner yesterday, one of those icons. Arthur Blank, boy, right up there with somebody who has put his mark for all the right reasons on the city of Atlanta and our community. Justin Felder at this new wonderful training center. Justin, thanks so much. We got on the news international front. The critical Strait of Hormuz needs to be reopened, and pronto, because gas prices are over $4 a gallon now. New research showing lower-income Americans are being hit the hardest when it comes to high gas prices. A report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found households earning less than $40,000 a year reduced their gas consumption by 7% in the month after the beginning of the Iran war. This is as we go right into the busy summer travel season. Though surging prices still force them to spend about 12% more at the pump. Meanwhile, higher-income households earning more than $125,000 a year increase their spending by about 19%, while only reducing consumption about 1%. Middle-income households fell in between, but the report also found that the gaps between each income level were greater than in 2022, when gas prices were also high, when Russia invaded Ukraine, triggering a similar gas price shock. Figures suggest that the spike has worsened in what economists call the K-shaped economy. In other words, the economy seems to be doing well. The Dow Jones Industrial Average almost back up to record highs at 50,000, although it's down over 300 points this afternoon, refers to high-income Americans continuing to do well, this K-shaped economy, in the midst of this gas crisis. So we'll continue to follow the numbers at the pump for you. DoorDash announcing plans to spend more than $50 million in gas price relief for its drivers as sticker shock continued to worsen at the pump. The announcement comes after the food delivery company said that it would temporarily offer additional compensation to its U.S. and Canadian drivers, with hopes to offset a sharp increase in gas prices due to the ongoing war in Iran. According to data from AAA, the national average for a gallon of regular gasoline, $4.53 a gallon. I mentioned it was up over $4 a gallon. Well, there's the price, according to the national average, up 44 cents from a year ago. While DoorDash says deliveries remain strong between January and March, despite the higher prices, total orders still fell short of previous Wall Street estimates, though the company cited the effect of winter storms closing businesses and decreasing demand in some areas. President Trump says that a peace deal with Iran is in the offing, could be reached within a week as negotiators work through a 14-point framework. Under the proposed deal, Iran would agree to stop all uranium enrichment and never deliver a nuclear weapon. White House officials are optimistic that the pressure from a U.S. naval blockade will force Tehran to sign on, but critics worry the plan doesn't go far enough to dismantle Iran's nuclear program. There are a lot of different factions in Iran competing for leadership in that country. Moderates who want to see a way forward for the country in a positive and progressive way, and extreme radicals who want to continue defying the United States at all costs and be provocative in charting the way forward, if you will. Sounds like some reconciliation is taking place between the two sides. What leadership emerges in Iran? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. As we continue here on the Fox Local stream for you this afternoon, live from the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, might have heard the rattling and rolling last night in the form of thunderstorms rolling through our area overnight. We're going to check in with meteorologist Greg Majeski as to what the rest of the day holds and looking into the weekend as we chart our weather course forward when we return. Welcome back, everybody, to the 3 p.m. streaming hour on this Thursday afternoon. So happy you're with us today. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom on what has been kind of a cloudy day out there, the aftermath of all those storms and rain that have rolled through the area, really from kind of last night to overnight to into this morning. Let's get out to meteorologist Greg Majeski, who's tracking the remnants, Greg, of what rolled through here, if we can expect any more from where that came from.
Well, not for today. I think we're done with the rain today. The good news story here, Tom, is the fact that we're going to really take a nice stab at that drought that's been a big factor over us in building to its highest levels that we've seen in, some 25 years. So when you get rains like this, which are very widespread, all this yellow in here, this is 2 to 3 inch plus rains here. You see several streams. You can see they were coming from west to east in these. And there was a little bit of gap here across parts of Metro Atlanta, but overall it was very good coverage here. And here's the thing. We did get our new drought update today, but this does not take into account the very heavy rains that we had seen over the last 24 hours. So this map here, which is right now at its worst we've seen thus far in this drought, where 100% of the state is under severe drought conditions. Even this has gotten just a little bit bigger, but I suspect by next Thursday when the new one comes out, we're going to go ahead and decrease the impacts of the drought so far that's impacting a lot of North Georgia. So we got some good news coming. We'll see how it looks next week. Now, we've been kind of had some low clouds kind of lingering over here to the west and really kept the temperatures down over there. And it's been kind of a cool day. The winds have been blowing a little bit. You might notice that Mother Nature's kind of got our air conditioner going right now. 61 up in Blue Ridge, 75 in Clayton, 78 in Eatonton here. And we've had some sunshine here and there, but it hasn't cleared up for everybody. You can kind of see, look at like the northeast section, see a little more sunshine up there, a little more clouds across Metro Atlanta. Here's the clearing coming here. So, boy, trying to do a forecast when the clouds are doing this, it's just got to roll the dice. Just one of those things. It happens sometimes. But again, as we go in forward tonight, we're going to see here, not a bad night. It'll be cooler here for tomorrow morning. Now, normal low is supposed to be right near 60, 59, 60 degrees. So we're definitely below normal here for tomorrow morning. Go light jacket in the morning. Tomorrow, let's call it partly sunny for tomorrow afternoon. We'll see temperatures here generally on the low side. Again, normal high supposed to be inching up toward 80, 79, 80 degrees, getting close to that. So below normal tomorrow. Then Saturday, the big change that we've kind of done with our forecast here is we've been up in the rain chance for Saturday. Yesterday it wasn't looking that bad, but then the morning run got wet. The new run's getting wetter. So we've got this coming at us on Saturday now. So we got, again, no severe weather with this. This looks like some showers and some thunderstorms, not looking too bad. We'll get a decent amount of rain, not as much as what we just saw, but some more rain out of this. This pulls on out, and then we'll see temperatures around the 70s here on your Saturday evening. So rainfall amounts pretty decent with this. This has gone up from the previous run, now showing over an inch. Got a little path there going from Rome, Canton, and Gainesville. Looks like half inch for a lot of different locations. So say half inch to 1.5 inches potentially in that zone going into Saturday. And it looks like this may clear out in time for Sunday. So for right now, again, we're looking Friday, we're looking pretty good in here. Looking into Saturday. Saturday went ahead and up that rain chance to 50%. This may be during the morning. We'll see how this works out, but maybe the afternoon's a little bit better. And then next week looking pretty good. We'll get some sunshine back in here and warm back up to around 80 degrees as we go toward your Wednesday. So you may have to dodge some rain for Mother's Day weekend, but I don't think it's going to be a complete washout. But right now, Saturday's definitely looking wetter of the 2 days.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, Greg, good thing we got all that rain overnight because we certainly needed it.
Yeah, the lakes are going to have a nice rise. It'll be interesting to see how much the lakes come up from all that runoff.
Yeah, and how much of a dent it puts in that drought.
Yeah, we'll get that new update next Thursday.
On a separate note, I've lived here. Well, this time I've lived here, I'm going on 18 years. And then in a previous life, I lived here like 6 or 7 years. So that's like over 25 years or so.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't remember like a May. I mean, this feels like kind of a mild May, if you will. Temperatures haven't been that hot. There's not been that much humidity out there, like really cool mornings. We'll take it, right?
Well, yeah, we'll definitely take what basically happened. April, the weather we've been kind of experiencing here in the last week, or basically since the start of May, is the weather we should have been seeing in April. We weren't getting it. We had a ridge. We were above normal. We were hot. And then the pattern changed as we entered the month. And as a result, we're kind of benefiting. But now, as we go deeper into the month of May, it looks like after the 15th, 16th, we're going to start flipping the script, and we'll probably start warming up again as we head toward Memorial Day.
All right, well, that makes sense. I guess we'll enjoy it while it lasts.
Yep, absolutely.
Greg Majeski, Greg, thanks so much. We have news about ICE and their announcement to end its shortened training programs. DHS officials saying that Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents will enter 72 days of training at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia, as opposed to the 42-day accelerated course implemented last fall. This comes after ICE completed a surge in hiring that more than doubled the number of agents after lawmakers on both sides of the aisle aired concerns over lower training standards for ICE agents following the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens at the hands of ICE agents back in January of 2026. Coming up here during the 3 p.m. streaming hour, some really interesting events happening. We're going to go to Douglas County, to a history museum out there, and a new data center in space to tell you about. Our Chris Rosenthal live here on terra firma, not up in space, to tell us more about that when we come back. Hey everybody, welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haines, with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Appreciate you streaming with us. If you're on our mobile app, Fox Local, we're happy you're here, or at home watching through one of your live channel providers. So glad you're watching today, or on our streaming sites at Fox 5 Atlanta, or if you happen to be listening to us on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM. We're certainly glad you're with us as well today as we cover a lot of ground news-wise on this Thursday afternoon, including the future of the Douglas County History Museum now in limbo after commissioners voted to end their lease. Officials offering the museum an out, however, if the entire board is replaced. Let's get out to our Kevin Stewart on top of this situation for us. Kevin?
Hey, Tom. Yeah, if you've been following this story, there's been a lot going on with this, a lot of different tentacles. One, you've got history, folks who love history and want to preserve the county's history and get that out to folks. There's also the diversity element. There's been some debate that the museum exhibit does not fully depict the county's full history, current and past. And when you get into that part of the story, then you have the whole old Douglas County versus the new Douglas County. And there are folks who are long-time residents of this community who believe that new residents don't respect the history here. And you also have the other part of this about the efficient use of county buildings because the county says it needs more space. And this is the old courthouse. That's where the museum has been for more than 20 years. And they say they want to move more county facilities into this building instead of building a new one. So while all of that was being debated, one county commissioner did some digging around, Commissioner Whitney Kenner-Jones, and she found there were certain things that were not being done by the museum's board that runs this facility, the Old Courthouse Inc. organization. For one, the museum is not registered as a nonprofit as it should be. Tax records don't indicate that they're getting this building for free. Douglas County allows the museum to set up in here without any kind of rent, and that should be reflected on its tax records. So what ended up happening, as you indicated, Tom, is that the county commission has voted to terminate the lease, but give it 90 days to try to get its house in order and set up a new board. We talked to two members who are against this on the county commission. One of them talked to us in great length, and we also talked to a new member of the museum board who says, well, it explains why this is all happening. Take a listen.
People died. People didn't know what they should be doing. I don't know that anybody ever knew that that form was supposed to be filed. I mean, frankly, like I said, when they were forming it, they were going off the advice of the commissioners at the time. What we're trying to do is just to show them that we have a new attitude, we have, new gumption to get things right and get things up to speed.
We would not have provided that option or that avenue to any other. Us as a board of commissioners knows that all of these things have been done improperly, and so we're giving you a 90-day deadline to come back and file something, but we have no control over how quickly the Secretary of State will allow you to become a new entity. We've done absolutely zero vetting of the qualifications of the individuals that they are purporting to have on their new board.
Now, the museum board member believes that they can get everything done within 90 days in terms of getting registered properly, and they hope that they get an opportunity to set back up in here, but that won't be until August. Tom?
Very interesting, Kevin, to see if the board out there can come to terms on whether to continue funding this museum, keeping it alive in Douglas County, or which direction this goes. Kevin Stewart live in Douglas County for us this afternoon with some important developments as to the future of the History Museum in that community. Kevin, thanks. Metro Atlanta startup Atomic 6 taking data storage to new heights. We're talking about data centers into orbit. The company says space-based services could be the key to solving power and cooling issues here on Earth. Let's get out to our Chris Rosenthal, who was there a second ago, but is not there anymore. see if we can connect with Chris, because this is an interesting story. This is all about data centers, Chris. Hang on, I'm going to change the banner up on the screen for you. And getting them out into orbit. I mean, data centers in communities have been kind of a controversial issue, right? Because people argue that they sap power away from communities, that it's ultimately power customers that are going to be absorbing that burden. They take up a lot of space, they're unsightly. And so there's been an increasing effort to get them up into space out of everybody's way.
Yeah, Tom. So I'm here with Atomic 6. They've been around since 2018, but they are now, on the forefront here in Marietta on trying to, working on those what they call ODCs, orbital data centers. Those are data centers in space. Like you said, issues with the power. There's issues with water that's needed for cooling, and they say a lot of these data centers in orbit can solve a lot of those problems. And I'm here with Trevor Smith. He is with Atomic 6. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Chris.
And tell me, data centers in space, I mean, orbital data centers, why?
Well, power and cooling. You just talked about it. Actually, here in Georgia, I think there's some movement to sort of put hurdles against data centers being built. So in space, we have free power and free cooling. The power of the sun and the cooling of space.
And what are you guys doing to be, you guys just started getting into this with your business. What's your involvement with this?
Well, at our core, we do composite structures or lightweight structures. And so the conversation around data centers is power and cooling. So we actually have two products for space. One is called Lightwing. It is a redeployable solar array system, which is the power. And then we have a redeployable radiator system called Hot Wing. I hope you like the name. Barbecue, buffalo, Thai spicy, all the good stuff.
Lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper, yes, don't forget that one. But what we saw in common with this data center conversation was we need really, really lightweight, inexpensive, high performance power and cooling for data centers. And let's do it in space because it'll help with that drain from the energy grid and that drain from the water resources. So ODC.space, which we've launched, the first marketplace ecosystem in the world to put a real price on a data center in space.
It's kind of like getting a cell phone plan, huh?
Yeah, exactly like that. You walk into the cell phone store, you pick out your small cell phone or your big cell phone, and you pick out your connectivity speed. That's exactly what the website does, and you can get a price today. And we are launching no later than 36 months from now for your own orbital compute.
Now, we were talking, this is so new. You just got a new contract for a lunar orbiting data center. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our first space contract actually is to power a data center in lunar orbit. So it is a 6-satellite constellation that'll be flying around the moon, and it will be a data center by itself, holding compute and storage for that customer.
I think a lot of people didn't even realize there were data centers in space, and I think this, does this solve a lot of the problems and a lot of the concerns that people have?
It's a new trend. It's definitely trending on Twitter. So data centers in space do solve a lot of problems. Right now, launch costs are pretty expensive, but they will come down. But that's the unique thing about ODC.space is it's today pricing. But we are imagining a world where launches are getting lower and lower and the applications are getting bigger and bigger because that free energy from the sun and the free cooling from space will help.
You're a local company here, contributing to the local economy and a growing company. Talk to me about where you are now, where you're expecting to be.
We're here in Marietta with 12 people. We started in 2018, like you said, and we've put out over $4 billion in requests for proposals or bids for our power systems in the past 12 months. So we see a very large pipeline for this very unique system to essentially be the power grid for space, if you will.
Gotcha. And obviously, you'll be hiring more people, bringing more people on as time goes on.
Yes, we're planning a large production facility, bringing on 300 to 400 employees, and it's a very exciting time to be in Marietta, Georgia, at Atomic 6, doing this work.
Lots of growth in this space, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we're already in space. Actually, we were on Transporter 16, so our solar panels were on a satellite flying. So we're a real space company, if you will. And we have 2 more flights later this year. One of them includes Space Armor, which is bulletproofing for satellites, if you will.
That's cool. So, we were talking earlier, I think you're probably the most popular guy on career day for your kids at school, huh? Space is kids love that, huh?
Well, a FaceTime video from the former commander of the International Space Station with my son's kindergarten class was very popular.
I can bet. So, anyways, yeah, this is, before doing the story, I didn't even realize that data centers were something in orbit up in space, something being worked on, and a possibility for the future. Hopefully something that helps address a lot of the concerns people have. Again, the cooling and the power, putting it up there hopefully will help.
Chris, I'm interested, before you go, and if you could ask Trevor, does he want a piece of the action where putting these data centers on the moon are concerned? I mean, I know we just sent up Artemis 2. Artemis 3 is going up to explore the possibility of parking these data centers on the moon. What does he think about putting them on the lunar surface? And does he see his company, Atomic 6, moving eventually in that direction?
Yeah. So, Tom, our anchor, had a question about, what do you think about putting data centers on the moon? Is that something that we talked about the lunar orbit one, but is that something you're going towards?
Absolutely happening. We had Artemis 2, successful return. Everybody was cheering it on. NASA has stated we're going to have once a month unmanned missions to the moon. So you're going to need compute in the lunar environment because latency from the moon back to Earth is so long. So we're going to need that compute on the moon. Also, it's a very secure, safe place to put data.
Yeah, security, that's very important too when you're talking data. That's pretty out of the way of everything. So so lots of future and potential growth up there and out in space.
Right. Our Chris Rosenthal and Trevor Smith, founder and CEO of Atomic 6, guys. Very interesting stuff. Thanks so much. When we come back, an exclusive look inside a top secret facility keeping Atlanta first responders connected when we come back. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines with you live here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, covering a lot of ground today here. We're now going to get a behind-the-scenes tour of a high-security network hub, we understand. Sounds complicated, but at the end of the day, and it's an exclusive look inside a top-secret facility that's keeping Atlanta first responders connected. What's this all about? Let's get out to Maria Guzman, who has the answer for us. Maria?
Hey, Tom. Yeah, it sounds very complicated, so I'm going to describe it as easy as possible for our viewers to set the scene. So, for example, if I'm a Verizon user and I need to make a call to either the fire department or to 911, my call is going to go through this building right here. So ultimately, this building acts as a bridge for that message and call to be made. And right here, we're standing in the power room. And this room just really helps to get this building going. So with me, I do have here Jennifer, who is with the Verizon team. So Jennifer, just thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
To talk and explain the focus of this room, I know you mentioned it's a power room.
Yeah.
So just how critical is it in this building?
Absolutely. So, because this building is so critical for communications, every inch of this building is engineered with resiliency in mind. And so how we do that is we build redundant systems. So we're standing in one of 4 power rooms that we have in this building. And really important to know is that all of our equipment is powered by 2 separate power sources. And so if we lose power from one side of the building, then the other power source is still plugged into our equipment and keeps it running. And then if both power sources go out at the same time, we have battery backups like you're seeing on camera. And then we have a generator room. We have 4 total generators in this building that can power this building in the event of complete power failure.
Awesome. So there is kind of like a backup to that backup if this does ever
We have backups to backups to backups. So
Awesome.
4 of the same room in this building alone.
Gotcha. So we're actually going to go ahead and check out the backup to this room if things were to fail or just not work. And it's right here next door.
Yeah, so this is going to be our generator room. So if both power sources fail, we do have 4 total generators that can run. And the important thing here really is that we only need 1 generator to really power our equipment. So we have 3 on standby in case we need to use them if anything fails with the first generator.
And I know that we were chatting about how often these generators do get used, and you mentioned it was just used recently.
Yes, absolutely. With the severe weather that just came through last night, we did run these generators last night for a period of time because of power outages, but you can see they're not running now, so we have restored our commercial power to this facility.
Awesome. And just to give you guys an inside look, as I've been going through room, the temperature here does change. Like this room, it's a little bit warm, and you were explaining how you guys need to make a really big effort and focus in the temperature.
Yeah, so temperature control is another system that we use, and we have redundant systems in place. So we have air handlers. We use an N+2 method. So we have 5 air chillers, for instance, in one of our switch rooms with 2, on standby if we need to.
Awesome. Thank you. So obviously temperature just plays a crucial role here as well to make sure everything is working. Tom.
So interesting and reassuring to know that our first responders are staying connected. Maria, thanks so much for that live report. Let's get out to Gainesville now and our Eli Jordan, who is standing by at a senior living facility. Pretty cool effort out there underway. We know our seniors love pets, and so a local shelter brought theirs out to this senior living community for some companionship and, heck, to see if anybody wanted to adopt a pet. Eli, what's happening out there?
Hey, they had what they called a yappy hour, and it was a blast. It was really cool, Tom, and I enjoyed myself. I got to meet a few dogs, and the Humane Society of Northeast Georgia came out here, and they brought some dogs to introduce to some residents, and residents brought their own dogs just to show off their companion, and it's a good cause. And right now, I have a couple of dogs. I have Bixby and Baxter here, and they are pets that they are the pets of the general manager, Anna Gadman. Anna Gadman, how are you doing today? Thanks for joining. I like your doggies. Anna, how you doing?
Great, thank you.
And so did Bixby and Baxter have a good time at the Yappy Hour?
They had a blast with all of our residents and our resident dogs here at Lanier Village Estates.
And so I believe we got video of that earlier, of a big happening. They just wrapped up about an hour ago. But just tell me, why do you guys do this?
So we do this for our residents' well-being. We really encourage our residents to have their pets and really really enjoy life here with their pets, to get outside, to enjoy the outdoors, and really for peace of mind and aging in a very joyful way.
And as people get older, their friend circle gets smaller, and they're a little bit more discriminating in their taste when making new friends. But it's easy to have friends in your pets, and they could be just as satisfying and even better sometimes, can't it?
This is very true. It was great to welcome the Humane Society here today and have them really enjoy the pets with us and enjoy our residents and get them outside.
Here at Lanier Village Estates, you guys are very pet accommodating. It seems like you guys recognize the benefits of pet companionship.
We do, definitely. It helps our residents be mobile, it helps them stay active, it helps them stay engaged with the community and spending time with each other and outside with their pets.
And do you bring your doggies up here sometimes?
I sure do. They're our little mascots of the property, so they love coming and seeing all of our residents and bringing the joy to the property.
How often do you guys, have pets up here? I mean, I know it's not just, yappy hour all the time, but how often what all do you guys do?
So we do it pretty regularly for different events. Our residents are out every day with their pets. We have pets that come and do therapy with all of our residents here. In our assisted nursing facility, we have local organizations that come in and bring pets to spend time with them and do therapy as well.
Well, awesome. Anna, thank you very much, General Manager here at Lanier Village Estates, where they had Yappy Hour with the Humane Society of Northeast Georgia and promoting companionship with animals and how pets can be some of the greatest companions you'll ever have up here in Gainesville. Tom, I'll kick it back to you.
Love these guys. Eli, I got two parents in assisted living facilities. Oh, Eli, what'd you do to them? They were so well behaved.
No, they heard you talking. No, they don't like your voice, Tom. That's what it is.
Get in line.
Is that Tom Haynes? We know about him. We want to see him.
It's a great program, and it's a great way to introduce seniors to pets. Eli Jordan, Eli, thanks. And thank you for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haynes, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Don't go anywhere. The news continues right here, right now.
Fox 5 News at 4.